Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free, cause I know that God know the combo. Go with Sister E, love talk Sister E, God work Sister E, charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak, if you subscribe we going deep. Love talk Sister E, God's work Sister E, charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E. Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free, cause I know that God know the combo. Go with Sister E, love talk Sister E, God work Sister E, charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak, if you subscribe we going deep. Love talk Sister E, God's work Sister E, charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E. Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free. Cause I know that God know the combo go with Sister E. Love talk Sister E. God work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk Sister E. God's work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E. Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free. Cause I know that God know the combo go with Sister E. Love talk Sister E. God work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk Sister E. God's work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E.
Come out to play. Warriors, 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 come out to play.
I am here for business. I needed to show that for a brief second to let these folks know I'm not playing with them. Now, I have a few people. Let me go ahead and just say this. Some saints feel like, oh, Sister E, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing this. Oh, we need to be somewhere praying. Did Elijah go pray when he had to deal with the false prophets? Or did Elijah deal with the false prophets head on? See, I'm going to tell y'all something. Sometimes falsehoods need to be dealt with. Scammers need to be dealt with. People that are not consistent and people that don't care about the community need to be dealt with. Everybody's not made for this. Everybody's not made for this. Some people are made to go sit and pray. Go pray. Some the prophets that were dealing with Elijah, some of them didn't even come out to the battlefield, possibly. But Elijah stood 10 toes down and called falsehood falsehood. So, with that being said, a lot of falsehood has been going on in this community. And one thing I don't like is leading my people to leading them straight to the furnace to be burned to death. If you follow the UN and the AU with the foolishness that's going on, you're leading them straight to the beast. So, as a believer and a watchman on the wall, and as a follower of Christ and a follower of his and loving his people, I got to expose it for what it is. Falsehoods, people changing narratives. 1 minute, people telling you don't trust the system, but then telling you to follow the system to hide their own narrative. They don't want to be told that they're doing flea doctrine. They don't want to be told that they telling the people to run to the beast system. It's flea doctrine, y'all. Straight flea doctrine, all of them. Every single one of them. I'm calling them all out. I'm calling out Karis. I'm calling out Teo. I'm calling out any of them that's leading my people to a place where they can have problems. The UN doesn't care anything about you. And you don't care anything about you. They want your money. I don't care at this point, y'all. That's how I feel about it. I call names out. I'm not playing games. And much as I love them, and I loved them at one time, y'all, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You're telling my people that the UN cares about you, but you constantly saying that we are not supposed to follow the beast system when the UN is the epitome of the beast system. The epitome of the beast system. All this foolishness going on with this back to Africa stuff, and ain't none of it working, y'all. Know that it ain't working. None of it's working. It's falling apart at the seams. Every single Africa initiative that I've seen in the past 2 years have fallen apart because of money issues, people being shady, people doing backroom things. Per se, possibly, they're doing some things that are just a little shady dealings. So ask yourself why things like Quest Unite Africa ain't running the way it needs to run. Why all these people are now hiding their hand and ain't telling y'all why people are walking away from these initiatives. Come on, y'all. I have no problems with calling people's names. People got to answer some questions. Answer some questions. Why are people allegedly having problems when they're going back to Africa and they're having to come back? Because guess what? It ain't quite working out for them. The people over there telling you to come over here, go over there, it's much better. Ask yourself how many people had to turn around and come on back to the U.S. They're not telling y'all that. They're not telling y'all. People are leaving. People are leaving and coming back to the U.S. because it's not working. People losing money left and right, tens and thousands of dollars. Saints losing money with this foolishness. Saints losing money with this foolishness. There is no land. If you go into Tanzania, you're going to do lease for 99 years. I'm not doing lease. I have a house. I have property. It's not a lease. It's my property. Only thing I have to do is pay taxes. Taxes ain't that much. Taxes ain't that much, and it's still mine. You know what taxes does? Taxes make sure that certain aspects of that property can be taken care of by the government themselves. These taxes ain't I'm not just being taxed for the sake of the tax. It has some things tied to the tax so that I don't have to worry about lights on my block in front of my house. It's not my responsibility. That's the city's responsibility. But because the street lights are the city's responsibility, I still have to pay taxes so that I can ensure to have street lights. But ask yourself, if you go pay Africa some money, are they going to tell you what they paying for? Are they telling y'all what they paying for? Or are they just taking your money? They get ready to do it again. And they finna do it on a larger scale. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's dangerous now. You're literally telling people to follow the UN and the AU when me and Pastor Kelly sat down and showed y'all brick by brick by brick by brick what can happen if you follow them. That money is not going to go. The money itself is not going to go to you. Your reparation that we've been talking about, not going to you. It's going to go straight to Africa, and Africa going to stuff it in their pockets and play like you don't exist. Y'all play with these folks if you want to. I'm getting sick of people seeing people doing shady stuff and people sitting quiet and ain't saying a word. Ain't saying a word. Shady dealings. There's a reason why Sister E is floating solo. There's a big reason why I roll solo. I have only a few people in my network. One of them is Pastor Kelly. I don't care what y'all say about Pastor Kelly, what people feel about Pastor Kelly. One thing I will say about Pastor Kelly, he been honest since day one, since the day I met him. Do y'all realize me and Pastor Kelly even had a moment where we wasn't on good terms, briefly. But did y'all hear us blast this online? We felt like we needed to sit back and sit quiet and not pull y'all into the madness. And me and my brother sat down. These was a couple of years back. Sat down, talked, and ended it right there. It wasn't nothing major, but it was just a misunderstanding. I didn't blast him on my channel. He didn't blast me on my channel. We just kind of stayed away from each other for about 3 months and then came back together and talked and let it go. That's what you do. So I'm cool with him. But there is a reason why Sister E ain't dealing with these people anymore. And I'm saying it from my chest because there's some dirtiness, some dirty dealings going on that's not being disclosed. I don't trust any of them. Saints. I'm finna speak the truth because the Lord's gonna hold me accountable if I don't speak the truth. I don't hang with none of them intentionally. This is an intentional decision I made because integrity is very questionable right now with some people. Very questionable. I know some good people that had to step away from some people because it was questionable. The integrity was very questionable. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching them online saying crazy stuff like trust the UN. Trust AU. Let them take your money because y'all not smart enough to handle y'all money. That's what they literally saying. Y'all not smart enough to handle y'all money. They can teach y'all diplomacy. I'm going back and I'm talking to these countries and I'm presidents of their boards, but I can't tell y'all what the plan is. Make it make sense. But buy into it anyway, but I can't tell you what you're buying into. So you can't disclose to the people what you're doing because you're trying to protect it. Like, oh, they're going to come and get me. Do you realize they got every single phone tapped? They know what we're doing. You ain't got to see it on YouTube. They know what we're doing on the cell phones. They know what you're doing if you send an email. If they want to know what your plan is, they have no problems about finding it. Them, they say them. But the very them y'all speaking for, y'all saying y'all need to make an alliance with. So my people, when we get our money or our reparation, when y'all blesses us, however he blesses us, we have to make some type of pact or an agreement with a country that sold our people. Y'all come on now. Come on. They made a pact to sell our people over 400 years ago. They went into the inner parts of Africa, took our people and gave us over to the European. Sold us over to the European. And now they want us back, but they want us. They don't want us. They want that bag. And they want that, not just the bag, but our spending power. Black Americans got so much spending power, we can create our own country. And they know it. Now Africa, all of a sudden, let's work with them. No. I like to see what's really going on. Who pulling the strings in these communities now? Where is the genuineness now? Who pulling the strings? Everybody want kumbaya moment. This ain't kumbaya moment. Everybody just went, can we be at peace? No, we're not at peace right now because something needs to be said. For my people end up doing something real stupid, and we stand there, and I don't want to say stupid, that's mean, but yeah, before we do something that ends up hurting us in the long run. Something that's going to hurt us in the long run. And guess what'll happen? We'll lose everything we lose everything, our entire birthright, because we trusted. Most High tell us to trust him only. Only him. He would deliver us. But these folks telling us to trust a system that sold us. Make it make sense. The very system that sold us over here took our ancestors and handed us over to the European and to the Arab and to the nations to be scattered. The Europeans didn't know the inner parts of Africa, but they did. They did. They did. But guess what they did? Guess what they did? They went into the inner parts of Africa and took us to the European and loaded us on them ships. Now, all of a sudden, kumbaya moment. The first time was the year of the Great Return when folks was going to Ghana. Family, what happened with the return to Ghana? What has happened since then? What has happened since the return to Ghana? These folks are turning back around because they being mistreated. But what these sick and twisted people telling us, it's not Africa's fault, it's y'all's fault. I've heard people say, you got to go to Africa and humble yourself. You can't go over there and act American. You got to humble yourself. That's not biblical. So I have to humble myself, be a slave again. That's the key word. You got to be a slave again to be able to sustain. See, y'all love Babylon. And Babylon is worldwide. Worldwide. Y'all just love Babylon. Babylon is in Africa, y'all. Babylon is Africa. Babylon is the US. Babylon is Europe. Babylon is Asia. Babylon is all over the world. It's a worldwide system. Worldwide system. You need to humble yourself. To who? If you can't respect me for me and me doing my thing with what the Most High has blessed me with, and I got to all of a sudden humble myself to a system that needs us to design it from the system that we have here, from the economy that we have here, from the culture we have here, from everything in this country. Guess who had a hand to build this and make it easy for the Africans to come over here? Us. It was our family members, our grandmothers and our great grandmothers, and some of us, our mothers, that was in Alabama, in Mississippi, was in Tennessee, all over the South, fighting for equality. It was our ancestors that ultimately, let me show you how twisted this mindset is. It was our ancestors that got ultimately released from slavery, and they didn't give us a dime, not a single dime. But yet it's still, they let us in for the first part to help them orchestrate this government. And guess what happened? They decided, oh, this ain't going to work. We don't want to deal with it. I think they called it the Black Renaissance or something, Renaissance period. It was a Renaissance period right after coming out of slavery. Somebody taught me this, and I thank them for teaching me this. Don't operate in ignorance. And we were there trying to orchestrate and get the government together. And ultimately what happened, they was like, we can't do this. And they ended up flipping it on us. And you had situations like Jim Crow. You had all types of stuff going on. But ultimately, they gave us nothing coming out of slavery. They gave us nothing, and guess what happened? We built it out of nothing in a land that was not ours. This wasn't our land. They in their land. But we was in this land. even in the midst of the Jim Crow, in the midst of the racism, in the midst of this bad, sick system, in the belly of the beast, we made something work for us. We built our own businesses. We built our own towns. We built our own networks, and ultimately, some of the networks fell apart, but yet still we're still sustaining. We still are able to work. We're still able to have a strong hand when we say that our dollar is still strong coming out of Black America. So that still says, regardless of what you do, we still working and eating and living and making it better than some of them. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Even though they destroyed Black Wall Street, even though we still are able to sustain ourselves. Yes, we still deal with racism. They still deal with racism over in Africa. They still deal with racism over in Great Britain. They still do. Do you realize how much racism goes on in Africa? The colonizers still own Africa. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted while y'all going looking at those videos where they say, oh, it looks beautiful. Understand that is still, South Africa is still owned by the Boers pretty much. That's why people still running things. I think they're like 80% of the wealth in South Africa, and the Africans themselves have a less hand far as their dollar is not as strong. They're not as wealthy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this little link, and I want people to tell me make this make sense. We're going from one colonized land to another colonized land. Realize the colonizer is still, his hand's still in this. Even the colonizer is playing us, saying, hey, we're gonna give y'all reparations. And guess what? We're gonna give it to the African Union. Y'all, they want to see us kill each other over there. Because guess what's gonna happen? If let's say that we did buy into it. Let's say all of us bought into it. And the UA says, well, give us y'all reparations. We're going to set up that government system. Y'all got to come over here and follow it. Do you realize how that'll turn into a Rwanda times 10? You think the Tutsis and the Hutus were bad. This would be even worse. And we would go over there and end up massacring each other. Because these folk over here are going to be like, no, you finna give me my money. And they're going to be like, nope, we're not giving you anything. You think that Rwanda was bad? We go over there and they take our reparation, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. Because after a while, we're going to say, wait a minute, some ain't quite right. Some ain't quite. They playing us. And one thing about us, when you say they playing us, game changer. Game changer. Game changer. And see, the thing is, these folks think that we weak. Our people ain't weak. We tired. And the worst thing you can ever do is just push a person over the edge who's already tired. We already tired as a people. Think about if we go over there and they take our money. Guess what's going to happen? We're going to flip every single table in the room. We're going to set it off because we're going to hit a point where it's just enough is enough. And these folks will lose it and burn it down, and it won't be pretty. See, people think that Americans, we lazy, we this, but we tired. What happens when you push a tired man or a tired person that have hit their breaking point? It isn't pretty. It isn't pretty. And what you will see is an all-out war between that nation and our nation. And the colonizer will sit and watch. Hey, y'all, I dropped that link. And I bet you, I'm going to drop it and I'm going to keep talking. Cut your camera on. I ain't cutting my camera on because I cut my camera on all the time. I ain't got to cut my camera on. But go ahead. Hop on up in here. Hop on up in here. Since y'all bad and y'all like to sit up here and tell these people, tell them in their face, they gotta give the follow through with the UN, and they got to follow through with the AU taking their money. Sit up here and explain it to these people. Sit up here and tell them that they got to do this and it makes sense. Make it make sense to them. I'll wait. I ain't gonna say a word. I ain't gonna argue with you. But I bet you other folks gonna say something. I dare every single one of these people that's pushing this to hop up in this room, and I'm gonna sit quiet. And you sit here and you explain it to them and explain to them how that makes sense to them. Welcome, welcome. Let me pin this so whoever got something to say, they can say it. When the message. Welcome, y'all is good. What you got for us? Hello?
Second. Yeah,
Come
yeah. Can
on.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, right? I don't trust the Africans, and I'll tell you this right now. As a Haitian, I've been in situations multi times where it's obvious how the Africans feel. The one of mi- like the many other situations was in my past life when me and my ex they used to run a small merchant processing a business, and we would go out and talk to business owners, and some of them would be like the Africans, your Nigerians, your Ghanaians, and all kinds of different like the Africans. And the one time me and her were trying to close a deal, and the guy who owned the business said, "Hey, uh, like, what are you?" And I spoke first, so I said, "Yeah, like I'm Haitian." And he said, "Well, since you're Haitian, I'll do business with you. But if you were Black American, I would not." She looked at me and I looked at her, and we just like, okay, what does that even mean? Uh, Fast forward, and I have some Nigerian friends, and one time that one of my friends was hosting a party, and he was like the host in the party, and the party was out in the suburbs. He rented a large mansion, and I showed up because hey, he's one of my friends. We do business, so I showed up, and just by being around those guys, for some reason they have major animosity towards the Black Americans. I don't know why, but they have this major beef and it comes out. And I had to tell them, I'm like, hey, like, how are you so bold to speak so badly about a group of people when in actuality, everything you have comes from the Black Americans, right? Your educations, your cars, like wherever you go to, like whatever you have in this side of the earth, it had to come through the Black Americans. You was not here for civil rights. You did not protest. You're just the reaping like the benefits, right? You didn't get yourself into Harvard. You didn't get yourself to be doctors and lawyers. There were another dark skinned group that came along and they got you in there. So what is it with your beef? And for some reason, and that's a common thing, right? They believe because I'm Haitian, I'm more towards their side, and I don't get it. I'm like, how? Most of the time, if a Haitian it does something, it blends in. No one sees what a Haitian does, right? A prime example, like the term "Black Power," that was a term that was created by a Haitian male, but the Haitians will get the credit for it. It blends in. Chicago, that was a city, a black city, right? That was founded by a Haitian, uh, it, the immigrant, but it blended in. Uh the first black president of Harvard was Haitian, but that blend in. So it's a common thing for me to say, hey, like whatever like a Haitian does, it will be blended in. But with the Nigerians and the other, there is a lot of animosity. And I tell my spouse all the time, and she's Black American, and she brings up these things about the 400 and going back, I'm like, no, I'm not going to trust them folks because I've been there. They have these conversations and they have these conversations when I'm around because for some reason they believe that I'm different, but I was enslaved just like your folks. And I walked out, I get called the N-word just like your folks if I'm not called like immigrant. And I know for a fact, for some reason, them Africans don't fuck with us.
Ooh,
And that's sorry
yeah.
for my language, but that's the
Bridget,
reality.
you right though.
That's not-
They don't. Because honestly, the beef itself, we don't have a beef with them. We just trying to live our life. We just trying to live our life and we're trying to find the best way to live it. The beef started with them. And again, I got some cool friends that are from Africa. Love them with all my heart. But it's the mentality towards the Black American that we got a problem with. That's my problem.
I mean, and I don't get it, right? I don't get it. In fact, just that saying alone, right? They're saying like everything that we have came from the African Americans. It didn't that come from me. It came from one of my ex in college, and she was Nigerian. And we had a back and forth where I was pro Black Lives Matters and which I'm still in, and she was an Oreo. She was black on the outside, white on the inside, and she was all about the Blue Lives Matter. And we went back and forth, and she's a brilliant individual. Like I think she's a brain surgeon now, and so we went the back and forth, and she went back and she came back. She said, like, I don't get it. This is what I'm being taught, but to be honest with you, everything that we have that came from the Black Americans, and that's true, right? Because like every
Yep.
Black person on this side or in America, like in general, the most of the things that they have had to come from way of the Black Americans. There's no such thing as a lawyer or a doctor i- if Black Americans did not don't pave the way to integrate schools. There's no such things as like I'm gonna buy a house wherever I want to. If Black Americans did not protest to do that, there's no such thing as I'm gonna drive a Rolls a fancy car if Black Americans did not do that. There's no such thing as their high paying job, their standing, because like in actuality, they have done nothing. They're just the benefiting off of infrastructure that was paid for by blood. And yet they turn around and they resent the very same people who pay for that infrastructure that they benefit from. It blows my mind. It blows my mind, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And I tell them, I'm like, yo, you have done nothing. You have accomplished nothing. All you've done is you're walking on the road that you did not pave. And
And
now
yeah.
you're looking down on the individuals who built that road for you.
That's why I said FBA because they don't like me saying FBA because I somebody was like, Karis and Teo and them are just like, I can't stand the word FBA. FBA, Foundational Black Americans. This is why I said we have a legacy. And what they want us to do is ignore our legacy and merge into their legacy and treat our legacy like it's non-existent. I have legacy here in this country. My great grandparents and my grandparents um and my legacy, they were some people that paved the way for some people. And for me to sit here and ignore the blood, sweat, and tears that my ancestors, because I even know as far as we just recently got wind of what plantation, one of the first plantations that my ancestor went to in Virginia, um, that they came here with nothing. They had no choice. They're lying. Some of the Africans are straight up lying, saying that we sold ourselves. Or I heard somebody talk about on TikTok that somebody even said that we had a hard time over here because we just wouldn't be quiet, or we were just. I mean, I've heard numerous tall tales of why we came over here. No, we came over here because y'all ancestors snatched my ancestor, took them over to the boat. Because keep in mind, Europeans didn't know how to maneuver or get around within the inner parts of Africa. They needed help. Once they got help for them to get into the inner parts, They went and got the Africans. The Africans went and got our ancestors, took them over into the shores over in Ghana and those different areas. And guess what? Handed us over to the European. Handed us over to the European. But guess what? We didn't give up. We kept going. Many couldn't have weathered what we weathered for over 400 years. Many couldn't have weathered what our ancestors weathered. Our ancestors, our ancestors made it, and we're still living now. Because we as a people should have died. We should have been decimated based on some of the horrors that were committed to our people. But we still here and we're still shining. And you want me to sit here and ignore our legacy because um because now Africa wants us and you want me to bow down? No, I'm not bow down to Africa. No, I'm not. Bow down. You need to be grateful that we ain't sued y'all for reparations because y'all actually owe us as well.
Yeah.
Because some of the wealth sitting in Africa right now is the wealth that some of our ancestors had, and y'all snatched us and put us on the boat. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Y'all
Yeah,
took
and
us away. Uh-huh.
yeah, and that's the truth, right? And that's the truth. And I always view them in the same category as the whites, right? Because they made their profit. It's just, I mean, it's just
Yep.
a misfortune that their judgment came faster than the whites, right? But just
Yep.
like the book says, the right when the sin is done, then the punishment came, right? So the right when that last slave was sold off, they went into slavery. It's just that the whites just haven't got the chance to finish off their thing yet. But they always are trying to do this
Hustle
little
us.
trap, right?
Hustle
Like
us.
y'all, huh? So go ahead. I'm sorry.
They always trying to hustle us.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
look.
and literally, let me tell you what's going on. Literally, our people here are trying to sell us back to them. When you tell us to sign up for what the UN and what the AU is doing, and it's fine, they helping us and they doing this, you're literally selling us back over to them and don't even realize it. And someone probably realize it. Again, when somebody gets on the stage and says, hey, I ain't gonna tell y'all the plan, but I know the plan. I can't tell y'all what's going on because I'm scared that if somebody finds out, it kind of can mess it up. They know what you're doing if you're really doing something. But people in the chat eating it up. I'm like, y'all need to wake out of this delusion. This dude just straight up told y'all, don't worry about it. Trust me. And his own organization ain't working right now. There's a reason why they didn't got quiet. The organization ain't working. It ain't thriving the way they want it to thrive. But ultimately, he's telling you, trust me. Trust me. I ain't gonna tell you the plan, but trust me. Huh? For me to trust someone, I got to see some results. I got to see some tangibles. For me to say, I'm going to trust you enough to buy into your plan, even though I know some aspects of your prior plan didn't work, but there, hold on. Y'all just got through screaming at each other on a live about a couple of months ago because people was talking about money being misappropriated. Y'all just got through screaming at each other on the live. Hold on one second. So you still want me to trust you? I'm like, my people are delusional. Y'all need to come out of this strong delusion. Come out of this strong delusion. I have yet to see anything that they do over there that I just say, man, it works. Everything that has ever been related to Africa, as long as I've been dealing with them, ain't never worked. And people under a strong delusion. Give me tangibles that it's working.
Man, I'll
Give
tell you
me
this much. I'll tell you this much. I would not trust him. And the one thing that I know, and this partly from my ex, back in university, because I told her, right? Because at the time it was 2015, right? That's when I came through the process of my great awakening. And because the thing is that we started talking based off the Bible, and we used to go to church together, and I brought it up, and first she was like the hesitant, and she went back, she asked her folks, and her folks said, yeah, they did sold us into slavery. And she said, yeah, there might be like a difference. And I'm telling you this now. And this is from somebody that coming from another country to come to the US. Eh, they get you they play this game that they're the same as the average the people that's here. But that's not the case, right? For you to come from a foreign country to get into the US, you're not going to be average. You're either going to be like the highly blessed, really smart, or you're coming from some kind of family with money. So
Yep.
the individuals that you're dealing with, especially those that are speaking out to try to get you, hey man, let's go back to that. Their family are probably the same families who sold you into slavery. They're trying to get you back into slavery. And that's the reality
Correct.
is,
I'm gonna
right?
make sure. Let
Like
me
the
let
average
everybody
per
else have a chance. Y'all is good. So I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to make
yeah.
sure Hot Sauce and was it Jude has an opportunity to say something. So go ahead and finish what you're saying, guys. Good. I don't want to stop you.
So just like I said, right? It is like the average, like the Africans, right? What we will call your Pookie and Ray Ray, those that are get trapped in the system. You will never see them because they will never make it to this side. Like the Africans that you deal with here are those that are coming from families that have the resources to send their kids to universities, those that have the money, or those that are highly like intelligent. So if an African here is trying to tell you to go back to West Africa, I I wouldn't trust it. That's just my take on it. I wouldn't trust it because those individuals are likely the same individuals who sold you into slavery. That's why out of nowhere they came up with that 400 years, and we're like, how are you keeping track of this?
Yep.
And you know that it was 400 years of slavery, and it's not even like official yet. Those are the same individuals that sold you.
Yep.
Their family is trying to get us back into slavery. I
Gotcha.
wouldn't trust it. That's just my take on it.
I got you. Let me let I agree with you. Let me let Hot Sauce jump in. Hot Sauce, what you got to say? Don't come up
Shalom,
start. Don't start nothing, Hot Sauce. I'm just messing with you.
Shalom, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. And first of all, I just want to thank the Most High that this is happening. Because we have to let our people know and let them watch out for the okie doke. I mean, I dropped this story about 3 years ago when the Ghanaian president was talking about them making plans to start suing the UN for slavery because they said they lost human capital. And this been in the works since 3 years ago when they were talking about trying to steal our reparations. And for the most part, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to be grateful because now we can see the true intents. Because the way you succeed is one by when your enemies are revealed. It's easier to fight. It's easier to make decisions and things like that. When the enemy is behind closed doors and things like that, it makes it tougher. So the fact that they're coming out, letting us know how they stand, is a blessing. And most importantly, we got to understand something as well. If it's not in writing, it's not in it doesn't count. You tell me welcome home, brother, but you won't put it in writing that we're citizens, right? You won't put it in your constitution. We can't get passports and things like that. You tell me that welcome home, but I have to pay the foreigner price when I go do safaris in Kenya, right? Because there's the local price and then there's the foreign price, right? Every everything that matters and counts, you won't put it in writing, but then you tell me welcome home. So absolutely, this is just another slavery play. This is just another play to try to take away our blessing, right? And what the scripture says, right? A fool and his money will soon be departed, right? So at the end of the day, we have to take this as a blessing. We have to thank the Most High because at the end of the day, we're seeing who our enemies are. We're not going to be caught up in a delusion. And for the folks that are us that's saying like, oh, don't worry about it. No, you have to worry about it. You have to worry about it, right? The Most High is going to take care of us. We have to trust in the prophecies, right? So going over to Africa, like I think it's a bit premature because at the end of the day, right? There's nothing in writing that's safeguarding and protecting us, and we need that. So I would say, I'm not saying not go to Africa. You can still go there. You can, because I go there a lot. Can still do business and things like that. But this is not prophecy. This is not the great exodus to go into the wilderness. It's none of that. It's just we're just going there because it's just a nice place to go, right? This is not prophecy, and I'll leave it there for now.
Thank you, hot sauce. Thank you, hot sauce. Jew, is that how I'm pronouncing your name right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? How everybody doing? I don't know if my mic is good. Is it good? It's I don't be on here like this. It's like probably my second time using this. Is my mic okay? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I think first I just want to say, I'm a descendant of American shadow slavery. um, man. I think I'm gonna take a humble approach. I'm not here to say I know everything, but I know I know what I guess what I can read. And then I just want to first talk about the African Union and what they're doing. I know you done mentioned a lot of different things, but I won't go into all of them. Maybe it does tie into what I'm gonna say about the African Union, but just specifically about the African Union and their approach to um what they're talking about with the reparations. So I've been to the website and I read what they had to say. So for the people who didn't read what they had to say, first I want to talk to y'all. If y'all didn't read it, you know, don't don't think nothing. Be humble because you might have missed something if you ain't read it. So just be humble before you get too emotional. You know, uh, for the people who's Native Americans think they're Native Americans, I mean, you didn't even come from Africa, so I don't think you're really a part of this conversation because the scriptures talks about, the people that's over here in America coming here on slave ships from where? From Africa. But if that's not you, you shouldn't even be having anything to say right now either. Okay. Sister E, I know again, like you said a lot of things, but um, I probably won't be able to address all those things, but this is also for you, Sister E, and for the listeners. So, when I read on the AU website, it didn't say anything about them stealing our reparations. I didn't read that line. Um, I read. Let's see. I mean, it was actually impressive. You know, when you click and you look on the sources, I heard some people talking about, oh, they got an Cobra source. Yeah, I know Cobra is a Democratic Shield organization, but they wasn't really coding for Cobra. So you can't be listening to everybody talking. You got to go see what the source that they use from Cobra is talking about. um the Cobra source is talking about some organization that was set up in 1993 that was a pan-African organization that was talking about reparations for everybody, all the descendants of Africa that was enslaved from around the world. It's about reparations for all of those folks. And you click on that link, it'll show you that we was included in it. Um, so so yeah, you got to go look at it for yourself for sure.
One
Um,
second.
so
Let me pause you right here. We
oh,
did a
okay.
long segment on a couple days ago. Y'all remember when we did that segment? We read the objective line by line. A thief ain't gonna tell you they a thief. A thief ain't gonna tell you they're gonna steal your money. They're gonna utilize words that are gonna mask what they really mean. Have you fully read it? Because I fully
Yeah,
read
yeah,
it. We
definitely,
read it
definitely. Yeah,
online.
a thief might tell you they'll steal it, but they might tell you they'll steal it. If you can read
A thief
into it,
ain't
see, yeah, you do have to read in between the lines, and you can pick up on some stuff,
gonna tell you.
But
Thief
here's
ain't
the
gonna tell
thing,
you.
though.
Jew,
Hold on,
thief ain't
sister
gonna tell
E,
you. One second.
I'm not gonna. Okay,
A thief ain't gonna tell you they're a thief. Let's just be honest. Thief ain't gonna tell you they a thief.
so what are they gonna say? Like
They
that's what I'm
gonna
saying.
they
You
so
gotta
if
read in between the lines. You gotta. A thief might not tell you right. A thief might not tell you they're a thief, but you Have the African Union ever stole anything from you?
Though, let me tell you something, brother. Can I say something?
No,
Yeah,
no, please,
okay.
y'all, let me finish. See, that, yeah, I'm the
Let
only
me say
person that
something. Let
got
me
cut
say
off.
something.
I'm the
No,
only
no.
person that got
You
cut off.
didn't you
Though, let me
pause for a
say
second?
something.
Jew,
Let me
didn't you
say something. Let me
pause?
say.
One
Yeah, let
second.
me say something, brother.
Hold on 1 second, y'all. Didn't you pause for a second, Jew? Or
No,
do you
you
want to
said you
continue?
said you said you wanted to cut me off. So I said,
No,
okay,
no. Let him finish. Let him finish. Yeah, yeah is good because I want to give everybody an
okay, yeah.
opportunity.
Let me just finish,
No,
y'all. No, I'm not here to argue. I got like about 3 more points. So this another thing. I'm gonna tell you. Here's the thing. So they're saying that we're the sixth region. Now, a lot of people, this is the thing, y'all gotta keep up with what's going on right in the world, right? I understand what everybody's saying, how African Union been, how the African people have been, but it's a change in the world that's taking place. Everybody has had changes. You can't keep stuck in the past. Ibrahim Traore, I mean, even Mali, Niger, y'all don't see what's going on. So you can't hold them, you can't hold everything to the same standard. When they say they're creating a sixth region, right? That's new, right? What they doing is I'm not saying what they doing and what they not doing, okay? But what I'm saying is you this is something that we need to look into and not just turn our backs to automatically just because of the past, right? So when they say we the sixth region, perhaps they could be bringing us to the table, giving us descendants of American slavery a chance to talk and have leverage on the world stage that we ain't had before. We over here spinning our circles with the American government, but this gonna give us a big. It could give us a bigger platform. I'm not saying whether it is or it's not, but they are. It's they. Okay, how many of y'all listen to Covenant Awakenings on Curtis channel? This dude, okay, this dude. If you see this, what I'm saying. If you've been looking around and you had your eyes open, you will see what you know. What I'm saying this sixth region they have offered people of the diaspora, even of course Black Americans, to come up and be elected to these seats, be elected to these positions, so that we can have a voice in it as well. Why would you turn a back on that just because of something in the past or they Africans or black? You know what I'm saying? No, they could be offering a seat. And matter of fact, that's what they said. They said that.
who
So
is that?
now it's a chance for us to go up there and talk and say what we want. And they have not everything. It's nothing set in stone. It's nothing set in stone. Y'all, some people making it seem like, oh, it's already set up. They got their government set up. We got to come over and follow what
Day.
they say. No,
Jew.
we don't have to follow what they say. They
Day.
ain't got
Who's
nothing
that?
set up.
Who's that?
They letting us come.
Day.
Oh,
Who's
the
that?
people. They is the people that's saying that we gotta listen to what they say. That's not what was said on the website.
You're not telling me, Day. If you look at this website, have you thoroughly read this? Because me and Pastor
Yeah,
Kelly,
yeah. I read the
Day.
three objectives and I read the 20 the what they
Okay.
got going to
So
what
let me chime in.
2063.
So let me chime in.
Okay.
Me and Pastor Kelly, and everybody can vouch. This is why I didn't go off of YouTube. This is why I didn't go off of TikTok. We sat with everybody and read line by line. Everything said take reparations and filter it to the member states. Filter reparations and filter it to the stakeholders. Filter reparation, receive reparations and filter it to everything but the individuals that receive reparation. Let's go to that line real quick and let's see what you get from it. I'm not gonna be hard on you, but we're gonna look at this and we're gonna talk through it. So developing an African common position, create a stance of reparation, incorporating input from experts, member states, and relevant stakeholders. What does that mean?
Uh, okay, so what they saying is they're trying to bring people in who I can't see the screen. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Um I think did you do something to your screen? Because I can't what you on
Ah,
5, 6, 7? Where you at?
here we go, right here. I'm making it big enough for you to see it.
You on number 3?
Number 3, read that for me.
Okay. Developing an African common position. So developing, meaning it's not set. They don't got
Read,
nothing set that
read that
we
bullet.
gotta come.
Read
uh,
that bullet though. Read the bullet.
Developing,
Read that
developing
bullet. No, no.
an
Read the bullet
African
under
common
there.
position. Okay.
Under there. What does it
Create,
say?
create a unit. Create, not follow. Create a unified stance on a unified
Pause.
stance.
Pause.
Unified
Pause.
stance on reparation,
Pause.
incorporating input. Okay.
So when you say create a unified stance with my money that you give me, incorporating experts, member states, and relevant stakeholders, what does that mean to you?
Create a unified stance on reparations. So first of all, the money is not there yet. Nobody has got reparations yet. So we coming to the table before the reparations is even there. So we can put our input, we can create and unify, right, together on how the reparations and incorporating input, how it's actually going to come about and who the stakeholders are going to be and whatever. It's a unified stance and
Can
it's
I say
something that's
something?
being created. That's how I
Can I
look at
can I
that.
can I say something real quick? I want to make just like two quick points, really quickly. So number three is talking about creating a policy, but number four is talking about what to do with the money. But I think everybody's kind of late to the table because in November 15, 2023, Africa talked about seeking reparations on slavery at the Ghana conference back in 2023. So this African Union whole reparation things actually come back from November 15, 2023, when I talked about this years back. And in there, they explicitly talk about what they want to use their money to boost their economies. So you're not going to actually
Okay,
find
you're
it
talking
anywhere.
about the Ghana. You're
Hold on,
talking about the Ghana thing, right?
but this is this
That
is where this
but
comes from.
but you gotta go to this website and and and,
No, no,
and show
I'm
me
sorry.
where.
I'm sorry, sir. Well, I'm gonna do
Okay.
both. So I'm gonna do both actually. But before we even talk about the African Union, we have to talk about the Ghana Conference when
No, I'm
Africa
talking about
came.
the African Union. I'm not talking
But
about the Ghana conference.
One
I'm
second,
sorry.
Jeanette.
just
One
calm
second.
down, calm down, calm
Jew,
down.
calm down. Listen.
No,
Y'all
it's just
gotta,
y'all. I got something to do at 8:30. But come on.
but you gotta understand the whole the whole idea was sparked in November 15th, 2023. That sparked what we're looking at today.
That's not true because they got a source on there, a link on there talking about something
So
since 1993.
so
So that's not
four links.
necessarily true, sir.
I
Th-
put four links in a
Okay.
back chat for you to see to prove my
I
point.
did some no, no, let's go to the website. We already on the
Hold
website.
on,
So we talking about what the
Jew.
African Union is saying,
Jew.
right?
Jew.
And we want to
Jew.
go to,
Jew.
you
Jew.
know,
Hold on. I'm putting him down because
All
I
I'm
need
doing,
him to listen.
can't
Okay.
give it
like,
down.
Jew,
yeah,
What's the next
all
listen.
point?
I'm
What's the next point?
Listen. Now, Jew, what you're gonna do is you're gonna listen. You stated your
Okay.
point. Everybody has been silent. Everybody has been silent. Ultimately, what we got from you is let's give it a chance. It seems as if they're gonna give us a seat at the table. We can be able to talk. They're not gonna steal our money. They just
I didn't
want
say they wasn't gonna steal. I didn't say they wasn't gonna steal it. I'm saying
to.
we gotta go up there and we gotta see what it's about. I'm talking about for the people who automatically say, "Oh, they're stealing. Oh, they got this set up," when it ain't nothing set up even really yet. How many of y'all talk to the African Union?
but we
How
can,
many of y'all
if
talk to them?
we
Let
can
me say
read,
this.
brother.
Let me say this.
We
Let me
can
say this,
I
read.
brother
didn't get
Jew.
no. Who said yes?
1 second. Hold on, Jew. Jew,
See,
let me
that's what I'm talking about, bro.
Jew,
Don't,
hold on 1 second. Hold on a second, Jew. I come
don't
from
let me say something. Let me
one
say
second.
something.
Hold
But I
on,
want to
let
finish
me
the
say
point.
1 second. Everybody mute their mic. I'm talking. I come from politics. I grew up in politics my whole life. Been around politicians my entire life. My mom used to be a consultant for politics. So this verbiage, right, for politicians, this verbiage right here, I don't have to talk to the African Union to understand what this verbiage means. This verbiage doesn't mean that the money, the collective funds are going to go to the individual and we're going to sit down and have a conversation. That the collective group believes that the money should be taken, put in a pot, and given to the member states to rebuild their economy. That's what number four says, mainstreaming reparations, because I was going to go to number four. Mainstreaming reparations. Do you know what that means, Jew?
I mean, I might have a different definition of you. What do you think it means?
Mainstreaming reparations means streamlining reparations, making that one, everybody's individual reparations, one complete pot, and mainstreaming it for development policies, meaning your money is not going to be your money. Your money is going to tie to development policies.
Okay.
Equipping members, listen, you're talking
Okay.
and not listening. That's the problem. Equipped member states and regional economic communities to integrate reparations. You know what that means? That means the money, let's say they give you some money, Jew, and you run over there. That means they finna take your money and integrate it into their plans for racial healings, into their strategies and programs.
Okay, let me just say this real quick. So
You're talking and you're not
okay.
You're too excited to run over there and you'll be the first one to take the money.
It's not like
Now
that.
listen to what I'm saying. What they're saying is they're going to take your money and implement it and integrate it into their strategies and into their relief funds and into their programs. That's not your money. So that's what. So you're good with that.
They're gonna implement it into their programs. Okay. So that's what you're saying, right? That's not what they're saying. That's not what it's saying. Can I tell you what? That's not what it's saying.
Member states.
Now you just explained what you just explained, Sister E.
This dude ain't listening. He just talking.
But you gotta understand.
He's not listening, Miss.
But you gotta understand. Like people. I mean, for most people, going to Africa is their last hope. So when we're saying this, when we're giving them the truth, right? We do gotta have a level of understanding because you're taking away what they believe is the last hope. Because nobody's believing in prophecy, like you said, bro.
Can I ask you a question?
Wait. So nobody believes in prophecy. It says because it says equip member states. It clearly says member states. And ladies and gentlemen, who has a birth certificate from any African country? If you do not have a birth certificate from any
Define what is member states. What is member states?
The reparation will not get to you because you're not a citizen at that
what
country.
What is a member states? What is member states? What is member states?
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we
what's member states
about reparations,
you don't know what member states is.
Yes, we
what
know
is member states? Well, okay, what it is? What is it? Tell me what it is.
A state is a country. A state is a country.
You're not really cooking. Hold on, everybody get quiet. Everybody get quiet. So he really think he cooking up here, and what he don't realize is my patience is running over. So one prominent African member state is taking a lead stance on reparation in Ghana. It is a co-host of the conference with the African Union, where delegates from across Africa and diaspora commitment to build unity front through the reparatory justices. Ghana's leaders have been instrumental in pushing this. And what they're ultimately going to do is take that reparations, feed it to every member state, and that member state will take your money and feed it into their agendas. A member state is no different than any other state. A member state is a member state that's a part of the African Union. Member state. Does that make sense? Does it make sense?
So, Sister E, I just want to land my
the African Union.
So
that's a member state, and you just said it in the discussion. So what's the next?
So I just want to say this really quickly.
Hold on one second, Hot Sauce. Member state means each state that's affiliated with the African Union. Now my patients have run it short now. You ain't cooking, you just cooked yourself. Literally, what you said, the member, 1 second, Hot Sauce. I'm done being peaceful with him because now he's at a point where he's in a place of ignorance. Member state, let me get him up here. Everybody come down. Everybody come down. Brother, what you're going to do is you're going to sit silent for a minute because you're running your mouth and don't know what you're talking about. Let's make this clear. You don't even understand what a member state is and a regional economic community is. You don't even understand what a member state is. A member state is a state that is affiliated with the actual African Union. So they're going to equip the member state to integrate your reparations into their strategies.
But we are part of the. They inviting us to be a part of the African Union. This is what I'm saying. See, if you haven't been
Dude,
you don't understand this.
Dude, do you not
That's the
understand?
sixth region. That's the sixth region.
They're going to
I mean,
Philly.
what they call it diaspora.
It ain't
Well,
just the
what they
sixth
call it
region.
diaspora, where they inviting
Member
us up over
state.
here.
Member state. You're
Oh,
so
okay.
right. This dude, right? You know what? I'm finna cook this dude real quick. Member state is nothing but a state that's affiliated with the African Union. We showed y'all the list of member states. Since he don't know what he's talking about, let me help him. You're just gonna sit in the back because you need to learn. You running your mouth and don't know what you're talking about. And y'all never heard me talk to nobody like this. Let's go to the member states. Since this brother don't know what a member state is, I got to take you there. So these are member states. These are all the member states. It ain't the sixth region. It's all the member states affiliated with the African Union. So since you don't understand, and I got to explain to you what a member state is, because I've been to this state, been to this site. AU has made up of 55 member states, which represents all countries of the African Union. That is what a member state. So member state is. So whoever's affiliated with the African Union, they're going to take the reparations and guess what? Funnel it into their country's initiatives. You don't know what a member state is. You've been cooked.
I will read
What
the
else you
second
got?
sentence for you. So you stopped at the first sentence.
No,
You got to
that's
keep
fair.
cooking.
No,
You just put some salt in the water. You got to go to the second sentence.
This nigga right here, this is a special type of nigga. So member states are divided into 5 geographical regions, which are defined by the OAU. It doesn't matter if it's the 6th region. It would have specifically said the 6 regions. It said member states as a whole. You got to learn what you read and stop being excited to run over there because you'll be the first one they snatch their money. You gotta get
about what they saying about the 6th region. They inviting us there to be that 6th region. That's it.
Member state. What's a member state? Nigga, what's a member state?
Oh my God. Okay, I just finished. I finished with that. I'm not going back and forth with you on that. You just seen it on the second sentence. They have 5 of them, right? That's what they mean when they say 6th region.
What this nigga? I'm done. Woo! I'm going to kick this nigga off. He don't want to hear kicked out of the studio. Goodbye, my dude. Back up here. I'm finna create order. He out. This nigga don't know what he talking about.
Hey, sister.
This nigga don't know
Go
what
ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. I'll wait after you.
I had to kick him out. I had to. This nigga don't know what he talking about. I'm sorry. I can't deal with ignorant people that won't hear any reason. I'm trying to explain to him what a member state is. He's screaming 6th region. 6th region. Somebody said.
Hey, here's the loophole, right? Because I went to school.
One thing I'm not is scared. One thing I am not is scared. So I'm not even finna let these little comments because I think that's him. But I sat there and explained to this ninja what a member state is.
So,
but 1 second. I'm real frustrated.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just wants to
I told people that operate in ignorance. I think that's the most asinine thing. But what's more asinine is they're not hearing that they sound ignorant when you tell them that they're ignorant.
Look, man,
you screaming what a member state is. You define what a member state is. I showed you what a member state is.
Man, you just got niggas who want to. Niggas who want to burn, you gotta let them burn.
Let them
burn. I see y'all be messing around trying to save everybody. Look, let them walk to the fire. Enjoy the walk. Right?
Hey, let me say something. Let me say something that's so funny. Let me say something that's so funny.
Hey, Sister, real quick, can I say something before?
I'm frustrated right now. What's going on?
Can I say something, Sissy?
Yeah, you can say something, my brother. Can you hear me?
Let me see here. Oh, I was on a delay. I was hearing the delay. Just real quick, and I would just say here, because I caught some of it, and I caught the brother, and I'm glad that you went to here, defining what a member state is. And for family, Sister E and I, we did a live on We Woke Now, and literally went through the objectives, line by line, and highlighted the red flags. Now, here's the member states here. Now, if you could scroll down there, you will not see anything about the diaspora.
Nothing about this so-called 6th region.
So to Sister E's point, and when you really read the objectives, this is what it's saying. Reparations is going to be controlled by them. If we choose to add a middleman, so to speak, they will be the middleman, and reparations will funnel through them. And by the time it gets to the individual, before it even gets there, it's going to go through the layers of, as Sister E highlighted, the member state, and has other layers that goes with it. It even says scholarships, scholarship programs, and all kinds of stuff. So the point of the matter is, and as Sister E reiterated even last night, this is not about trying to throw shade to our African brothers and sisters. That's not the issue. We're dealing with an organization. We already know that whether it's in the United States or in Africa, whatever the case may be, there are organizations that does not have our best interests. So when you look at the objectives, objectives make it plain how it's going to what divvy up and how it's going to divide the reparations. It's simple as that. And sister, if you want, I could go to the red flags we highlighted inside the presentation I did last night, so that way the people are clear. But I'm here to tell you, family, that we have to listen with intelligence. It makes absolutely no sense if you're going to say that, like this brother was on previously, stating about, oh well, the sixth region is us having a seat at the table. Okay, if that's the case, then make sure. Tell me, our brothers and sisters that are over there right now, can they buy land in all these member states right here? Or are they on a long-term lease? Are they going to have passports or be actual citizens and don't have to leave the country every 4 and 5 months to renew their visa? Whole number of layers. And what's the cost to that? So that's the key, family. I mean, I'm not here trying to throw fire out there, or should I say stir things up from that perspective, being rude or anything like that. It's not that deep, but at the same time, going to stand the ground. And Sister E went through this thing thoroughly. So as she just pointed out, the brother asked her to read the second line. Sister E, zoom in and read the second line for the people, what he was saying that you didn't read the second line. And let's see how deep the second line is under the member state.
The following list shows all member states grouped by region in alphabetical order and their date of joining the AU or its predecessor, the old AU. That's all it was saying.
So it's saying that all these here are the member states. This whole list here is the member state. It doesn't say anything about the sixth region being the diaspora, those that are scattered around the world. It lists all these different countries here that's part of the member state. And again, family, that's why it's key to understand stakeholders, the verbiage that they use in their objectives. And that's what Sister E and I did, what was it, a few nights ago, and we highlighted this right here. So again, go ahead, sis.
This is, and I lost my cool, family. I apologize if I lost my cool. I just don't like ignorance, and I don't like people talking over me and talking over everybody else, and not listening, but consistently running their mouth, and they don't know what they're talking about. But now that I'm calm, let's really look at what I was saying. And Pastor Kelly, you can chime in, because I really want us to understand that we've read this. Me and Pastor, like he said, me and Pastor Kelly read this thoroughly, and we did this intentionally, because individuals will run and say, oh, they didn't read it. They missed this line. They didn't pay attention. They're feeding off of emotion. No, we're reading the information to you and letting you know what it says. Now, it's up to you to see it for what it is, or run into the fire yourself. But you've been warned that they're not going to give you your reparations. The reparations is just based off of line 4. It says they're going to equip the member states. What does that mean? They're going to give the member states what they need, or equip them so that they can be able. What are they going to equip them with?
Zoom that in, Sister E, so everyone can see it as well.
It says equipped member states and regional economic communities to integrate reparations and racial healing into their strategies and programs. What does that mean?
So it's taking and making one pot and divvying it up for all the member states that are there. Started with it. It's right there. That's what it says. It says create unified stance on reparations, incorporate input from experts, member states, and relevant stakeholders. So we have the member states, but what are the relevant stakeholders? See, this is verbiage that I just call it verbal gymnastics.
Correct.
Because when it's all said and done, you have layers and layers. These layers cost money. We
Correct.
don't need another, we don't need any more middlemen. We don't need any middlemen. If the United States decide that they are going to give us reparations, guess what? Just simply download it into my account. It does not need to go to a third party organization and then trickle down through their layers. Now we get into the colonial way of doing things, go through their trickle down process. So by the time it gets to the layer of the individual, it'll be little or nothing left. And you guys been there before, whether it's purchasing a cell phone, purchasing whatever the case may be. And then before you know it, you see the layers of these fees that are tacked on, and
Correct.
before you know it, you're like, wait a minute, I thought my services was only going to be, let's just say, $50 a month. But when it's all said and done, by the time they tack all the fees, you actually spending hundreds, over $100 a month. It's
Correct.
no different. So when we start dealing with organizations like this, family, this is basically like a messiah type organization, wanting to be the messiah. When we deal with middleman, we already have a middleman. We already had someone that stood in the gap for us. That's Yahweh Shai. Some of you guys would say Yeshua, not getting into all of that, but we
Mhm.
don't need an organization that, as you see here, making it clear. They're making it clear. It's in our face. So it's not like they're hiding anything. We don't need any of that. They have it right here how they're going to divvy up the resources.
So I will
And
say
there's so
this
many
here.
red flags. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what I'm saying there is Karis and Teo sent their possibly sent their troll or their troll that loves them so much. I don't want the trolls. I want them to come in here. They explain to me how this is going to work for the community. It's time for them to stand before the community and explain to the community, and not on the echo chamber, but come into an environment that's going to push you and question you. Because one thing I did see when I actually went to that live and somebody told me to go to it, people were providing their viewpoints and they was deleting comments, and people were saying things like "trust Yah," "trust the Most High," and they were deleting their comments. And I said,
Well,
"Wait a minute, hold on, they're deleting comments." So come from the echo chamber and come here before the people and sit and explain. Ain't nobody going to get deleted. Ain't nobody going to delete their
well,
comments.
let me say this, sis, and quite honestly, you know where I stand with them, um, because I'm not going to uh, give that type of lane to them or anyone unless they're going to come and be on the even playing field. And I'm not getting into, not trying to open up a can of worms with that. And what I mean by that is if we're here putting our reputations on the line, then every person that comes up on here put their reputations on the line, you
Correct.
know, and go from there. You're putting your reputation on the line. So for me, when it comes to those guys, those spaces, I remove myself from those spaces, But I will say this again, family. Uh, when it comes to middlemen, I'm gonna take it right back to there, right? And sister, if you want, I could bring up the PowerPoint that we went over. We went over this thing. But the key thing, when you start dealing with the middleman, I'll just read a couple of the bullets that I put together here. It says the AU has positioned itself as a global voice for all people of African descent, but it is not the legal or cultural representative of descendants of
Correct.
U.S. slavery. This creates a major jurisdictional and moral overreach. right? Negro Americans are citizens of the United States, and any U.S. reparation must be paid directly to us, not funneled through an international body with no democratic mandate from our group. Because you see that we are not a member state. We're not the stakeholders. They have that laid out inside their objectives. So I'm making it clear we don't need any middlemen. We don't need another middleman. We already dealt with a number of that inside the United States. Simple as that.
Can I say something or
No,
no?
you go ahead. But I just wanted to just say that jump in, Sister E, because I saw the brother trying to come at you, and I got in a little late, and I was going to go in, and but I'm glad that you laid out what you just laid out with the objectives and going to the member state of the site.
So I just wanna say something because I have a master's in public policy from the Kennedy School. So I just want to make like three very poignant points. So number one, they're talking
No,
about using
who is this speaking?
hot sauce, hot sauce.
Okay, I saw
So
us.
so when they're talking about member states and using that money, they're talking about using that money for civil funds. So if you do that because you do not have a citizenship at any of these 55 member states, you will never see that money.
Absolutely.
You will
You
never see
you
that
know
money
we're saying the same
because
thing.
right. Because, but I just want to make it clear because number one, in writing, you're not a citizen, and they're talking about using that money for public funds. Public funds goes to the civilians of those stakeholders or countries. Number two, it's actually illegal for America to give the money on our behalf. They're not Americans. We are Americans. This is a civil rights issue, not not a African U.S. issue, right? So like what Pastor Kelly said, they have no government standing because of jurisdiction. They don't have zero jurisdiction over us. And the issue is this: we understand racism, we understand that we want to get out of here, things like that. People are tired, but don't let your weariness cost you fatal mistakes.
Man, did you
This,
listen to us the other night, man? You sound just like what we've been saying.
no, I haven't,
No, no, I'm
but
just joking
yeah,
with
I'm
you.
sorry, but
I'm just
I
joking with
wish I caught it. But
you. Yeah.
at the end of the day, we get it, right? When that brother was talking, he was talking from hope more than talking about from a legal standpoint from things in writing. But we got to understand something: if it's not in writing, it doesn't count. And again, this comes back from Ghana, November 15th, 2023, when Ghana had the conference with other African nations talking about we want to start moving towards getting reparations from the US. So this is just the outcome of that conference back in 2023. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, trust in Yah, believe in the prophecy. The Bible doesn't say the great wealth is going to go to those nations and they're going to give it to us. We come out with great wealth, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great comments. Great comments. Appreciate you, hot sauce. Putting it on those 5 hot wings, huh?
Frank Hot's got to eat it with everything.
That is so funny, and that's key, y'all. And that's the most important. And the link is still here. Anybody else that wants to come up, I don't want them afraid to come up. But what you
Yeah.
will not do is bombard us. You're
Yeah,
gonna
instantly I got to drop off because I got in late. So I
okay.
just wanted to jump in
Okay,
real
cool.
quick. But great discussion. And as you said, family, be respectful. Don't disrespect our sister here. That's why I jumped on when I caught a little wind of how the brother was being a little overly aggressive. But hot sauce, appreciate you and the others that are on the panel. Really appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Shalom.
All right. So
Shalom.
with that being said, Shalom. With that being said, you're welcome to come up, but what you're not going to do is railroad anybody on this panel. We sat quiet for a few minutes and let you keep talking. Did I not sit quiet and let this brother state his piece? Sat quiet. And then when I said, now you got to allow other people to talk, He got emotional. So if you get emotional like that, and we can't challenge your thinking without you over talking us, you will get kicked out. You will get kicked out. So understand that when you come up here, when you come up here, state your point. But this is where you're going to be in on the hot seat. But I'm going to ask you questions, and I'm going to say what you're saying doesn't make sense. Tell me what this means. He's telling me, well, you know what a member state is. Yes, I know what a member state is. Let's go here. So with that being said, I don't want to stop the flow. I want the people who disagree, and the people know who I'm talking about, come up to the forefront and say what you got to say. I'm not gonna block you, but when you get done, you got a lot of rest of us to speak. Whoever wants to speak. So go ahead. Isaac has been up here too. Isaiah, do you have something to say?
Um, yeah. So can you hear me? I just want to make
Yeah, I
sure
can
you hear
hear
me. My the thing that I wanted to say at the beginning was probably more when the conversation was more open. It would probably seem more appropriate at the time, but I was just going to talk about where I think the root of all the confusion has come in the first place, and that is with the where's the so-called Holy Land, or where is Jerusalem basically, and that confusion is what has opened up people to taking in other kind of doctrines. Like the thief can't just come in like without being invited, and so you have to like a vampire. So you have to accept one lie in order for another lie to come in. And I'm sorry for anybody on this panel who may believe that that Jerusalem is in Africa. I don't mean any disrespect, but I don't see it. And in fact, I think the book of Daniel, Daniel chapter 11, is very clear by giving us directions of other nations and where they are in relation to Jerusalem. That is very clear about where Jerusalem is. And so I don't see any way you can take it from being where Daniel chapter 11 says it is and then putting it down there in Africa. But so once you do that, though, then you open the door for all these other things, all these other the tricks, all these people with their scams to come in. And no disrespect also to the people who are have their YouTube channels and they putting this stuff out, because I don't honestly believe that everybody who talks about this stuff is doing it out of a bad place. I just think that they're deceived and not they're in so deep that they can't go back on it now. They have to keep,
correct.
they have to stay in there because they can't
They can't
tell
turn
these
back.
people that they messed up and then they wasted their money and this and that. So they're stuck in it. And so, but if anybody,
Correct.
let's just say, if you hadn't ever been told that Jerusalem was in Africa, would you even would you even like entertain the idea for a second that the African Union is going to handle reparations on your behalf? Like if nobody had ever told you that Africa was in Jerusalem, you wouldn't for a second you wouldn't even entertain that idea, because you would recognize that these people are not your people, skin folk and kinfolk. You know that just because they're brown, they don't mean that they're your people. And so that and, and while I respect some of these people with their platforms and their YouTube channels, because I've been subscribed to some of them for long, off and on, because sometimes I just can't listen to it because some things I know that's wrong. But I at the same time, while I'm subscribed to them, I actually forgot that point I was about to make. But yeah, I just ended it because I forgot that point I was gonna make uh about them.
You good? Thank you. And that's key, y'all. I think a lot of people have made mistakes and folks don't want to backtrack. And say I made a mistake. And and that's key, Isaac. I've never 100% bought into Africa being uh, Israel. I've heard South Africa. I've heard
Tanzania,
Congo, Tanzania. They just going through the
Ethiopia.
they just going through the continent and just saying, you the promised land. Now you the promised land. Now you the promised land.
But I that's what I wanted to ask Pastor Kelly. It just came to me because like I don't believe where they say Israel is. I don't believe it's there, but I have no idea where it is. I don't think
Okay,
anybody does.
that's
Yeah.
fine. But I'm just saying that. Go
Okay.
ahead, Isaac.
Let me okay.
Isaiah.
Let me just throw this out there since you said that though. So like Daniel chapter 11,
Uh
it
huh.
tells you that um, Greece is to the west of Jerusalem. Greece is
Right.
to the west.
Yeah.
Rome, or at least where the capital of Rome, where it was in Constantinople, that is north. Daniel chapter 11 says that the king of the north speaks to the king of the north, and it's speaking about Rome. It's kind of clear and obvious that
Yeah.
it's talking about Rome. And then it mentions the south, and it tells you in one of the verses. I can see which verse is it, that the south is Egypt. That is in verse 8. The south is Egypt. So for Egypt to be south of Jerusalem, it can't be in Africa, unless you one of the people who believe that the map is flipped upside down. Then you can say, well, everything is flipped upside down. But then you have
Yeah.
to put Rome in Africa too, because everything has to flip. So according to Daniel
Oh,
chapter 11, Egypt is south, Greece is west,
right.
Persia is east,
Right.
and the old Roman capital is north.
But that can
And
be a lot of places though. That still
but
can be a lot of places.
yeah, it's going to put when you look at the actual map, you got a big old C right there, and there's only like there's a very small area where it can be. It doesn't have to be exactly where they say it is, but there's a very small area where it can be according to those directions that were given. And then in verse 45, it says of it's speaking of that those people who took the land, and he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy land. That was 1948. In the glorious holy mountain. So
Yeah, but
between the
if you
seas,
yeah, I feel you, but if because I'm not saying I don't know where it's at, right? Because some people say north and south is just according to the flow of the river. So it could still be like places like Sudan because east and west doesn't change, but just north and south. It could be Iraq because Iraq is west of Persia. It could be Jordan, Syria, Saudi Arabia because Rome is still north, Greece is still west, Iran is still east, and Egypt is still south. Right? It could be a lot of places.
yeah, but see, that's the point that I was about to make about the verse 45, because verse 45 says that it's between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. When you actually look at a map and you look in the area, even if you try to say maybe it's flipped and you try to move it down somewhere else, the only place that's between seas where Jerusalem is right now, you have the Dead Sea on one side and the Mediterranean Sea on the other side. I don't see any other place. Even if I try to flip the map upside down or do all this other janky stuff, there's no other place where you have this spot in
But
between
but the
two
holy
seas.
mountain, but there's no holy mountain there in Israel,
The mountain is prophetically, it means a kingdom or a city.
right? Because the holy mountain is in Saudi Arabia, right? Jebel Alas, right?
But I will say that when the Bible speaks of a mountain, sometimes it's just speaking prophetically or symbolically, as in kingdom or city. And so, like when it says in Revelation that the horse sits on seven mountains, or
Right.
the
Sure.
seven
Sure.
mountains, and it says in the next verse that there are seven, those seven hills or seven mountains, and there are seven kings. It's telling you
Right.
that those
Right. Right.
those
Yeah, I
mountains are
understand that.
actually kingdoms. And
Right.
so when it
But
says the glorious holy
Let him finish,
mountain,
Isaiah.
so when the
yeah,
glorious holy mountain,
I'm not
it doesn't.
disagreeing with him. I
Yeah.
I understand what he's talking about.
I want to
But what
finish what he's saying though. You keep
okay.
interrupting. Let him finish. Go ahead, finish.
So I'm not saying that it has to be or it can't be a physical, literal mountain. I'm just saying prophetically it can be speaking symbolically of a city.
Well, when I read like the holy mountain, right? I read as in Jebel Allah's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's if you want to be absolutely literal about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, like, I'm not a stickler about it. I don't. I mean, it could be in Africa. It could be Saudi Arabia, Yemen, all. Like, I'm not. I mean, I don't really care one way or the other. But I don't like. There's a couple reasons why I don't believe It's
Let's
in
get
that
back.
piece.
Let's close this
Yeah.
up. Go ahead, finish it. Let's close it up. Everybody
No,
keeps
no, no,
saying
no.
that.
We can move on. We can move on. We can move on. We can move on.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Sister
yeah,
Eve.
let me let Nefes say something. Nefes.
Shalom, shalom. Nefesh Chaya. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Shalom, family. Okay, so I'm the only reason why I came in is because I'm noticing something that's going on. There seems to be a vehement fracturing going on. Like we tend to get vehemently disagreeable to one another, and we become upset or flustered or vexed or angry at one another because we don't see eye to eye on some issues. And I'm thinking, because it's not just on this one topic, right? It seems like it's every time we turn around, there's always something else that come up, and then we always got to butt heads about stuff. And I just want to caution our people. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the solution is, but I just want to bring it to y'all's attention, to everyone's attention, everyone's listening. That it seems like there's a spirit that's trying to cause irreparable harm and damage to our relationship with our fellowships and things like that. You know, us being able to get together and pray together and fellowship with one another online about different things, the world events, that kind of stuff. So, I just want everyone to be aware of that. Um, I, I, I'm of the opinion that we don't know everything, right? No one knows everything for absolute certainty. We can only go by what we know, right? So it would be crazy, right? I mean, I can't think of a better word right now. I'm kind of driving and everything, but it would be crazy for an individual to just like arbitrarily throw out everything that they understand about a particular matter, right? So if you understand these things, you know, we should. I'm not saying I'm not castigating anyone. I'm not putting blame on anyone. I just want everyone to be aware. But how things should be, we should be able to come together and express to one another our points of view, and we should either disagree or agree. And for some reason, and I'm not saying it's everyone, but it seems like it's just way too much lately, online and offline. Like, because I speak to a lot of people about different things, and it seemed like whenever you say something that goes against what they believe to be the understanding of the truth or whatever, it's not enough to just say, you know what, I hear you out, I disagree with you, let's keep it moving. No, it's always got to be some kind of contention, right? It always got to get to the point where it's becoming heated. Have y'all noticed that?
Yeah, but
Like,
there's something called, but it's something in the Bible, Isaiah 5:51 and 58 and 1. It says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sins. So right now, I'm in the position right now where I can't spare my voice to say, I'm gonna sit quiet and let people be deceived. Because guess what? It's gonna fall on my hands to say, why didn't you say anything? That's the problem. We sit back and we say, let's say kumbaya while people are being deceived. When you're dealing with deception amongst the community, uh, and I'm not saying he's saying that to me, but I'm just saying in general. When you see things like that transpiring, it's one thing to be unified, but it's another thing to call out falsehoods. Because if you do not call out falsehoods, and I know it's a falsehood, the accountability falls on me because I want to keep peace. There is no peace when there's falsehood.
but
There is
sister,
no peace when it's listen to what I'm saying.
sure.
There is no peace when there's deception. There's no peace when there are lies. Now, a misunderstanding is one thing. Me and Pastor Kelly had a misunderstanding 3 years ago. We didn't bring it before the people. It was just a misunderstanding. But when you're dealing in deception and leading people astray, we have to, I have to. When I'm told and when I'm guided to say something, I have to say something. If Elijah sat quiet while the false prophets were doing what the false prophets were doing, guess what? Elijah would have been at fault. The Father ain't gonna sit here and allow you just to sit here and let people mislead people. In James, it even talks about exposing lies and deception within the congregation. You're supposed to do that. That's not some things need to be divided out. Some things need to be called out.
I agree. You know, things should be called out. I restate that I don't know what the answer is, but here's the thing, right? You can be um, you can be passionate and you know to the point. I'm using the general term you. I don't mean you, Sister E. But one person could be so passionate about a particular thing, and in their minds, this is right. And if you're saying against what I'm saying is so wrong, I got to call it deception. But here's the thing: the problem is, because there's a spirit of deception, the other side is thinking the same thing about the other side of whatever topic we're talking about. If we're talking about where Israel is. You got two sides to that, right? If you're talking about should someone take the jab or not take the jab, you got two sides to that. If we're talking about the FBAs versus all inclusive integration or whatever, there's always two sides to that, right? And again, I don't know what the answer is. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. Now, me personally, I do agree with the fact. I mean, we talk about strict literal definition. I believe that our forefathers, those of us who are Israelite descendant of so-called slaves, that we literally built this country, and so by definition, we are foundation. So I don't have a personal problem with the term foundational Black America, and I don't personally have a problem with quote unquote Pan-Africanism either. Like if that is their thing, and the Most High gives them the green light for them to go out and do all these things. But me personally, this is what I'm saying, right? And I agree with you with this regard, Sister E. I'm looking at like, what about all the people that don't have the wherewithal to just pick up and go? Like, what about those that are too old, right? And when I read the scriptures, it says that we're not supposed to, I'm kind of paraphrasing. I'm not exactly quoting scripture, but we're not supposed to just go out and just say, "Well, I want to apply for citizenship or whatever. I want to enjoy myself with something else." We, as I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a biblical scholar. I do my reading and everything. But my understanding is that we're supposed to go through that second Exodus, right? And I think during that process is where we're gonna become, when we go out of the Exodus and we go into the land, we're gonna be one people. We all gonna be in one accord. The word, the truth is gonna be in us, right? And at that point, no longer will we have to go to our neighbor and ask, what about this? What about that? Because we would all know, we would all have that information in us. And right now it's just too much fracturing. And me personally, and I'm sure a lot of other brothers and sisters out here, especially those of us who are in Generation X or baby boomers age group, we've been through too much stuff where people rip us off or cheat us, and this is about unity, this and that, and yeah. So like I totally get both sides, right? And I lean more to the FBA side, because of my personal experience. But I think that on the other side, people tend to lean towards the I don't know how else to phrase it, but let's just say Pan-African side. People lean more to that side because of whatever deals and understandings that they may have had in their lives. And again, I don't know what the answer is, but we just have to be mindful that there is a spirit that's going about our spaces, trying to cause division and chaos and disunity and all the kind of stuff.
So would you unify yourself with someone who's being deceptive, or will you call out the deception?
Yeah, I would call it the deception, and of course I would not unify myself with that person.
So we're talking about unifying ourselves with the spirit of deception for the sake of unity. I'm not saying you're saying that, But I understand your point where, there's a spirit over the community that's creating division. The division happens when people allow deception to come in. That's when division happens. When you allow a deception to come in and you let it sit there and fester, before you know it, the people are blinded. People are being blinded by deception. And if we sit back and be quiet for the sake of just for unity, it's going to get worse and it's going to get
I
worse.
agree. Like I
And it's
said,
going to,
I don't know what the answer is. I just want people to be aware of it. That's all.
yeah, be aware of it. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Be aware of it.
Yeah.
But when people cry and show that, hey, y'all, this ain't right. This doesn't make sense. You're doing it out of love so that people who are innocent don't get caught up in this. Because what you don't realize is I've seen some of the back end conversations where people we see the infighting when it comes to these groups and these organizations, when it comes to money and people, uh, lies and deception, and you sit and you see it, and then you take a blind eye and fold your arms and say, I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't want to cause division amongst the community. The division is there when the act is committed.
Right.
The division
Absolutely
is
right.
there. Don't commit the act. Don't deceive the people. Don't get caught up in your own arrogance where you can't be corrected. Correction is for everybody. I've been corrected. I've been corrected privately and I've been corrected publicly. But a part of my growth and my development is taking the correction and growing from it. The correction isn't bad. These individuals have been corrected privately.
Mm.
Understand, conversations have been had and private conversations have transpired. Understand, everything that I'm saying is not something that I'm just publicly doing. These corrections have happened behind the scenes by myself, by me. So now the next phase is I'm going to correct you, but next time I'm going to publicly correct you and say you're wrong for deceiving the people. So understand that when we do this, I do this out of love, and I've done everything possible to show you your error, to show you that you're abusing the people. Don't do that. That's not right. Our people trust you. Our people love you. You have too much influence on our people to be teaching them this. No, we're not supposed to leave and run to Africa. No, Dave, I think Dave knows. We're not supposed to do this. No, we're not. No, that's not even built. There has been private rebuke conversations for the past year and a half. Nobody knows this, but it's been private conversations. And now it's getting out of control. And now it's like time out for the private. Now it's time to publicly say this. Y'all are misleading the people and misleading the sheep into thinking that running to a place to hide because you're afraid of what's to come. You're putting fear into the people. You're fear mongering them to the point you're telling them to sign up to the B system, which we consider to be a global system. You're talking about signing them up for the UN. So now, since we privately had these conversations on numerous occasions, now we're here.
Well,
We're here.
it does come across as like kind of like like a religious prepper type of thing, because going to Africa or leaving the states because you want to, there's nothing wrong with that. But you shouldn't call that prophecy. You shouldn't say that has something to do with the Exodus or things like that, right? But if you want to leave America and you can, go ahead. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's nothing to do with prophecy, nothing to do with getting people to the promised land and things like that. I think that's where the biggest problem is for me.
And the thing is, people want to have a kumbaya moment so bad. They
Yeah.
want kumbaya. And I'm not saying you're doing that. I understand your point, but I'm talking about other people within our community that are sitting quiet. They want a kumbaya moment so very badly that some of them know this isn't wrong, but ain't saying a word because they're afraid of some of these people. I
No,
name
but
no. I'm not saying.
I
let me say this ourselves. I'm not afraid of them. What can you possibly do to me? I people walk around in fear, like, oh, if I say something because they have a bigger channel, they have a bigger following. I'm not doing this for numbers. I'm not doing this for clicks. I'm not doing this for likes. I'm doing this because of obedience. And I say
well,
this numerous times. Hot sauce, 1 second.
I didn't say anything. I just
Oh,
coughed.
I thought you was getting ready to say something. I'm sorry, hot sauce. I'm sorry. But I don't do it for that. I do it because, for one, I love the Father and I love His people. And I don't, I'm not afraid to say it. And I think they know that I'm not afraid to say it. That's why they don't say it to me. Because they know I will say it. And I'll scream it from the rooftop. Y'all using these folks. Y'all are. And I meant to call their names out. Because I'm not afraid. And I'm letting them know publicly. I'm not afraid. Y'all are lying to these people. People are losing livelihoods and money because of all of this foolishness going on. And y'all know it, but y'all sit quiet on this. Y'all sit quiet on this because y'all want to keep this kumbaya. What's a kumbaya moment when older people are losing their money, when older people are being mistreated, when older people are being mishandled and their funds being mishandled because they blindly trust y'all because they think y'all have good intentions for them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they find out, hold up, I've lost my life savings. This how serious this is. I've lost my
Yeah,
life saving running over to Africa because y'all told me to run over there and people gonna take care of me and they're not being taken care of.
yeah, because yeah,
They're not.
and I spoke about
And
this to Karis when I went on his show. I was like, look, over there. I mean, I talked about the times I've got scammed here, and then we had a big argument, right? Because I told Karis the same thing. You can't tell people to go over there because people are getting scammed. I've gotten scammed from people I knew for years. Africa's not like that. It's not what you think it is,
But one
right?
of
I
the
mean,
biggest
I
thing,
recovered and I built a business over there, but it's not like that. This has nothing to do with the scriptures. People going over there,
yep,
this is more about prepping. This is the same thing as like those prepper channels, building ditches in the dirt and stone. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Preppers like, okay, go to Africa before this country collapse, or do this and build your bunker before this country collapse. It's all prepping.
yep. And the thing is, you gotta realize I had a lot of trust and faith in these people. And I rock with them hard. And people know that. And I will fight for them. How many times have y'all seen me fight for these people?
Yeah, you did. You
But
did.
when you wrong, you wrong. Because I expect if you love me, correct me if I'm wrong. There are some people y'all don't realize that if I'm doing something wrong, they correct me. Sheila, great example. Y'all know Sheila in the chat. I don't know if she's here now, but if I'm wrong and I'm doing a live, I'll get a text message. That's what you call love amongst the community. Sister E, you wrong. You wrong. Angie Love, you wrong, sis. Ruhama, she'll say it in a sweet way. She'll be like, my sweetie, that's not, she'll say something nice, but she'll tell me she's wrong. I'm wrong. Brew Queen will tell me I'm wrong. Pastor Kelly will tell me I'm wrong. These are individuals that if I'm wrong, they'll call me out. And I've been wrong before and been called out by them. And guess what I do? Quickly repent and even come before the people and apologize if I've done something wrong. Because this thing that we're doing, this ministry, because truly this is ministry. This is ministry. If you're not treating his sheep right, he's going to hold you accountable. Everybody who opens their YouTube and says, "Welcome to my channel," and open their mouths and start teaching the Bible, they've taken on the burden and the blessing of being a minister or being a ministry. And when you mislead the flock and you tie yourself to those ministries that are misleading the flock and you don't want to fight against them because you're scared of them, when God throws his wrath across, everybody, even the silent ones, are going to be held accountable. So if I sit back and watch this and I know in my heart of hearts this ain't right, but I sit and say, I'm not going to say nothing because I don't want to create, tension amongst the community. Oh, I don't want to say anything because, these are my brothers. Oh, I don't want to say anything because I'm afraid that they're going to attempt to shut my channel down. I'm not going to say that ain't what he called me to do. That ain't what he's called some of us to do. He called us to be honest and forthright. Another one that'll hold me accountable. Guard us. He up here now. That if I'm wrong, he holds me accountable. And he'll call me. He ain't gonna text me, he gonna call me and tell me I'm wrong. So misleading the people and then sitting quiet because I want to keep the peace and have kumbaya, or misleading the people and I'm afraid because they're a bigger channel than me. I got someone bigger I'm gonna have to talk to if I don't do what he told me to do. What's up, Gardis?
Greetings, Sister E, and greetings to all of the people on the panel and also in the chat as well. Um, I've been sitting back and listening. You know what? I don't know what side I'm on, but I got some questions. So
Mhm.
I know on the title of this discussion you have FBA, and I know that's Foundational Black American, but why didn't you pick like ADOS? What was
I
what
was
was
trying
huh?
because somebody said they don't like FBA, so that's why I was gonna do ADOS, but I did FBA because somebody's like, I can't stand FBA. I said, okay, I'm gonna put FBA on there. That's all it was. But I could have used ADOS.
Just to spite some.
I was just being joking.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So I was listening to you talk about like I guess there's some people deceiving people coming to Africa, and
Hmm.
and I want to know who were the people that were deceiving Black Americans here to move to Africa.
It's a couple of ministries, with the whole thing, Quest to Unite Africa. You got the Whole Fleet Doctrine coming from Teo Ministries. You got Dry Bone Ministry, where they're sending people over there and helping them find land and what's going on. People are coming back saying it ain't what it is. It's multiple Israelite communities. You got even Ron Dalton trying to get people to give him money so they can go over there and scan the land in South Africa. You got all these Israelite communities that are doing things to get people to run to Africa and invest their life savings, and they're losing their money and coming back and saying these people are not helping them.
Ah, okay, all right, okay, got it. Okay, all right. That kind of clears it up for me. No, you know what? I myself I take a different position on this because for one, um, I kind of stay away from the FBA ADOS labels because of the fact that it's not because because obviously I'm FB. Well, I guess I would be considered half FBA because my dad is a descendant of a slave, but obviously my mom is an immigrant, so I guess that would make me a tether. I guess I don't know,
You're not, you're not a tether. You're not a
but
tether.
but my dad is definitely FBA or ADOS or whatever you want to call it. But I I I I, I kind of stay away from that because of the fact that not that I don't agree with it, because I think that we do have to have an identity in this experience in the United States. I do believe that we are a distinct ethnic group when you think about the history, the experiences that we've been through in this country. But what really bothers me about it is centering the identity around reparations. And I'll say this: listen, we deserve reparations more than what we're actually asking for. I
Yeah,
think a lot of us are lowballing ourselves on the reparations claim
I agree.
because I will say this. So do you believe that without the labor of African slaves that were brought here, in the 16th, 17th, and 18th century, would this country be as powerful as it is now?
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying that is you remember when I was living in Virginia, And during my time in Virginia, I was doing some research on the back history of what was transpiring before they started bringing the slaves over here. You remember they brought a lot of the colonies, individuals from the colonies, by giving them free land and say, if you come over here and you work the land, you can have the land. And they kept having issues with the land. They kept having issues with the indigenous people, which were considered to be the Native Americans. So initially, they came in by themselves, trying to cultivate the land and get what they needed from a land perspective. They couldn't do it. You didn't start seeing the shift until you brought the slaves over here. When they start bringing the slaves over here, that's when you start seeing the major shift. But if you remember, right before they brought the slaves, they was dying by the hundreds over here because they couldn't understand the land, and the Native Americans had refused to help them.
Well, and my thing is this. So going back to the amount that we, that I think we deserve, because if we set a certain amount, say, $1 million for every descendant of a slave or foundation of Black America, whatever, what's going to happen is that they're going to inflate the economy, and basically our $1 million won't be worth much after that. However, the way I see it is, if we are the main drivers, we were actually the developers, of the builders of this economy to make this, the most powerful economy on the world in the last 70, 80 years, then I say a fair compensation is we need to own the economy. So if we're talking about a reparations claim, let's take the number of years that our ancestors were in slavery, which is about 220 years, I believe. Take half of the GDP from the previous year and give that to the descendants of slaves for the next 220 years. So if our GDP, if the United States GDP was 14 trillion, then 7 trillion need to go to the descendants of slaves, and then we just divvy it up from there for the next 220 years. Because guess what? If we claim that we own half of this economy or most of this economy, then we need to be paid like this is our economy. I don't want one check. I want multiple checks if we're going to do
I agree.
No,
But the key word is you want checks. We're talking about with the AU saying that that money needs to funnel to the AU.
Yeah,
And
but another question I want to ask is, okay, so who is the AU asking this money, this reparations claim to?
They're talking to the EU and even the United States.
Yeah, because technically we're supposed to get reparations from we're definitely supposed to get reparations from England for sure. We're supposed to get reparations from the American government, and I would like my reparations in gold and silver. Y'all can take that money if y'all want. I'll take mine in gold and silver, please.
Okay.
Have you seen the site, the EU site?
Yeah, I didn't read over it like y'all did, but I have skimmed over it at one point, because I remember somebody brought it up in a conversation, and I looked at it because I guess they're having there's a conference going on in Addis Ababa in September, and on the table is reparations. So, like, I know people who are in Cobra that was talking about it. So, I mean, I kind of skimmed over it. I didn't really examine it like you guys did.
Yeah, the driving force is utilizing the UN, I guess, as the strong arm. That's what I'm getting from it, to be able to push the initiative of you owe us money, as far as anybody tied to racial, any type of racial slavery or any form of and it goes here in the theme, because I was reading through the theme. It says anybody in Africa and the people of African descent should be paid reparation. if you were caught up in the slave trade or any form, especially they also call out the transatlantic slave trade, colonization, apartheid, genocide. They are saying that, you owe us, but rather than paying them, what I got from it was pay Africa, and we will funnel it into programs within Africa. Does it make sense?
I mean, to me, it makes sense because it's the African Union that's making that claim.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for anybody who believes that they're going to give Black Americans money, I do agree. I don't see it in the documents, but because you guys were making claims on that. But yeah, it's like nobody. It's the African Union that's making that claim. And from my understanding, from the FBA crowd, I thought we were supposed to be making a claim to our government for our reparations claim.
But the key
Right.
to it is if they made the claim to the countries that owe them, they're making claims for the countries that owe them and on behalf of us as well. Saying so, I'm a step in. AU wants to step in and ultimately say, if you were ultimately caught in the slave trade, you owe us, and you need to get back to Africa. So that means that this conversation of reparations between us being the ones that were in the transatlantic, because transatlantic slave trade is specifically called out.
But Sister E,
Let me finish. Hot sauce, and you can chime in. But anybody related to that money needs to come to us, Africa, so Africa can be able to funnel it into their programs. Now, what were you saying, hot sauce?
no, I'm just thinking out loud. I think that because I think because there are FBAs that are moving to get reparations. They petitioned the UN. They went to the Supreme Court, stuff like that. There are FBAs doing the work, but I think because the AU is being aggressive, I would probably imagine from a strategic point that we probably have to sue Africa as well because they're really putting their noses in our business. And just to reduce the threat of them actually getting the money, we should sue them as well.
Well, I mean, for me, like I think everybody has this misconception of the AU because the AU has not been radical since Nelson Mandela was in prison. So
But
the
I mean, but
AU has the AU has been complicit in a lot of stuff that has been not even for the people of that continent. You know, and when you think about the politics of Africa, outside of what's going on in Burkina Faso and the Sahel states, I mean, there's a lot of shady politicians that's running the major African countries. I mean, Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, years ago was an accountant for a heroin ring here in Chicago, and he had to leave. He had to leave the country before he got prosecuted.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so I mean, like,
Yeah.
for anybody to think that the African leaders there, I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them, they basically still have a colonized mind. So when you think about this repatriation issue, and I don't think the repatriation issue is a problem because I think it was Hot Sauce who said, like if you want to leave, that's fine. But the way this is being done as a scam, with certain people, like you were telling me, that's not the way to do it. Because if you haven't visited that country that you're trying to repatriate at least about 5 or 6 times and got to know some people, then you're basically doing it all wrong, and something drastic is going to happen, whether it be economic, whether it be physical, or whatever. Because if you in history, we've had freed slaves after the Civil War get imported to Sierra Leone or Freetown
and
and
Libya also.
in Libya, but most of them went to Sierra Leone, where they basically formed their own ethnic group. And if you look at the flag of, I think it was the flag of either Libya or Sierra Leone, you'll see it actually resembles the American flag.
Are you talking about Liberia?
Yeah, Liberia. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Liberia.
Liberia. Sorry, yeah, Liberia. Yeah, you're right,
Liberia.
Liberia.
So
Yeah,
if you
Liberia.
you look at Liberia, it actually resembles the American flag because it was actually founded by ex-slaves or
Yep.
people who was in slavery. So what ended up happening was They took over that land, and there were already indigenous Africans there, and they became the ruling group. Well, the basic what was going on with because of the fact that they were actually being colonizers and basically oppressing the African group that was already on the land. So you had like these two big civil wars that happened, in Sierra Leone and Liberia, because of the fact that you had these inter-ethnic conflicts, that involved former slaves. So that form, just forcing yourself to go to a different place where you don't know nothing about, and you get into these conflicts with the people who've already been there. That's basically natural. So when somebody's talking about repatriating, you just don't give up your I agree. You just don't give up your savings in one shot and just say, well, let's hope and pray this works out. No, there's a process. It's just like if I move from Chicago and I go to another city, I'm not just going to pick up and go to New York if I haven't been to New York at least 7 or 8 times to scout out a place where I'm going to go, the people I'm going to talk to, and the people I'm going to associate with. That doesn't even work here.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
But but the point I want to kind of drive home is that we need to take the AU trying to take reparations as an aggression against FBAs or ADOS, and we need to respond in kind. Because to me, any other situation you're trying to take my money, that is an act of aggression, right? If I'm walking down the street and you're trying to take my money, that's an act of aggression. And what the AU is showing right now, in my opinion, this is an act of aggression, where you're telling me that you want to take reparations from descendants of slaves. So you sold us, first of all. So if you're trying to do that, then my response is, okay, well, we need to sue you too. We need to file claims against you too, because that's acts of aggression.
Well, I have to push back on that because we're not, like reparations is a claim. It's not actual money that's out there. So we can't say that they're taking reparations from us because, for one, we don't even have reparations yet.
Well, what I'm saying though, if they're including themselves and trying to be a part of reparations when the funding does go out, right? Because Scripture says reparations will happen. That is an act of aggression.
Well, I disagree, but because like I said, it's not in reality yet. It's not in fruition. All it is a claim, and a claim is
Right.
just a claim. It's not nothing real. I could claim $1 million, but I don't have that.
But that's fine. But if so, for example, let's talk about the $2 Indian, where people can make claim that they're Native Americans, right? So what did white people start doing? They start claiming that they were white, that they were Indians, right? That was an act of aggression. You start making claims on benefits that don't belong to you, right? So yes, right now it's claims, but they're also trying to make claims on benefits that don't belong to them.
Correct. And I see what he's saying. He's saying that it's not necessarily regardless the actual reparations itself, it's the claim for the reparations. Now, if it lands that we get it, if we were to get it, that's where we would have a harder conversation. But the sheer fact of you claiming the
Right.
actual what's owed from a transatlantic standpoint,
Yeah.
say, hey,
That's an
fund
act of
over
aggression.
here. And you already have a plan in place on what you're going to do with the money, and you already talking to the even the UN and the AU, attempting to actively work together along with pulling the US and the EU into the conversation. Even though it's just a claim, it's concerning. You're speaking on behalf of Black Americans. Americans not even in agreement with it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we can't wait till the last minute, right? We got to address that now.
Yeah.
Right? You can't wait till the last minute.
Yep.
Hey,
Hey, hold on.
Um,
Let me let Gardis finish his point. Hold on, Gardis. Go ahead and finish your point.
Trade as well.
You said what, Gardis? Gardis, I can't hear you.
that include the people of African descent in South America because they were also part of the transatlantic slave trade as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and now Dave says something that would make more sense, right? That would make more sense.
Okay.
And
All right.
it's $2 Indian. I'm sorry, $2 Indian, not $5 Indian. Someone in the chat corrected me. Thank you. Sorry, but you pay $2 and then you can claim to be an Indian. And the thing about it is, it's just that when people are making moves now, we can't wait till the last minute. We have to look at this. This is an act of aggression, right? Because you're trying to take away our benefits for your country. You're not trying to give us any type of citizenship, no birth records, no social security, nothing, and then you just like you didn't even talk to us about it. You're just inserting yourself into the situation. So if you want to insert yourself into the situation, get ready for the smoke.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I would still disagree because it all depends on. Well, for one, I don't think that legal action would would be successful for one, if you ask me. But two, I think also um, with the African Union, like I said, the African Union hasn't been radical in decades. They've sold out to the colonizers as well. And I understand what you're saying about the claims, um, but they are, like I said, we can't sue off of a claim that we can't sue off of claims. There's got to be something
Oh
tangible
yeah.
there. There's got to be
Yeah.
something like there's got to be some
Tangible.
sort of amount there that we can say like, okay, you guys are really trying to take our money.
No,
But I also think too that um, I think that we basically box ourselves into this narrative of being in this country and not form uh, some sort of diplomatic relations with people in Africa. I'm not saying that they should come to our rescue or anything like that because I don't think that's their job. But at the same time, I think if we start conversations and diplomatic relations, because if you look at the relationships of the different countries that has kind of like relationships. So take for instance when Iran was being bombed by Israel and the United States, everybody was like wondering like, well, where's China at? Where's Russia at? Why didn't they come help them? Well, for one,
I know,
Iran
sister, you looking like.
Iran Iran didn't Iran didn't even ask for their help because they knew they could handle the situation. And two, why would they put their two biggest trade partners, Russia and China, in that particular situation when they're dealing with the superpower in the United States? So when we're talking about alliances and we're talking about this, we're not asking people to come save us. So because obviously we got to save ourselves, but at the same time, when we deal with global issues, and I think we need to start paying attention to more global, for a more global perspective, because I think a lot of our domestic issues are tied into these global
I
issues.
agree.
The world is changing around us, and we're falling way behind.
Yeah.
I agree, but
One
I
second. Let him finish, but I do want to chime in real quick. Gardis says
Mhm.
I don't disagree with the diplomatic side. We have to have a level of diplomacy with them over there, but the conversation isn't about diplomacy. It's about uh, the reparations discussion, which we see within the AU theme for reparations. Nowhere in here really does it talk about I want to be build a diplomatic relationship with us over here. It's more so of taking whatever reparations you get and funneling into Africa to build programs. That's not a diplomatic conversation. That's just pretty much telling you what I'm going to do with your money. I don't really want you. I just want the money so that we can be able to build something over here. So that I think that's the biggest issue and biggest concern is not the diplomatic side. Diplomacy doesn't require my if we were just say if we were to get get some form of restitution, That shouldn't be a discussion point. It should be a deeper conversation of building relationships so that we can have a partnership, if that makes
And,
sense.
No,
and
no,
I
you're
want
right.
to. Can I just say
Hold
this
on.
really
Let
quickly?
me let me let me finish. Let me hear what Gardis got to say. And then you got a hot sauce. What are you saying, Gardis?
No. And you're right. I'm gonna have to go in a minute, but I just want to end on this. Um, I do feel that um we shouldn't, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but despite the fact that I did say that the African Union has been complicit in a lot of colonizing things that's been happening in the last 30 years with different countries selling out to European countries and stuff like that. I do feel we should not give up, trying to build a relationship with the African Union, despite the fact that we are seeing a lot of efforts to continue the colonization of Europe through Black people, because I still think the part of our struggle has to deal with internationalism, and we still have to build the relationships. Now, I agree with you, Sister E. There has to be some sort of agreeable terms in this partnership, in this relationship. But we always ask, what can Africa do for us? But then again, some of us, and I'm not saying all of us, we're not saying, okay, this is what we can do for Africa outside of just going over there, moving and being colonizers and getting our money stolen from people who hijacked us for whatever. But that, I mean, that's just my thing. But
I see your
um,
point. I see
yeah,
your point.
so I
But
got
then,
I got to get out of here. But I'll be listening. I'll be in the bushes listening. So,
okay,
all right, thanks a lot.
you're welcome. But
All right.
but again, it goes back and why when he jumps out, it's a big difference in diplomacy and pretty much what take over. I'm gonna take your money. I don't want to talk
Well,
to you about building relationships and partnerships. I only want to talk to you about what can I do with your money to funnel it into the country, to the member states, and none of us are named within. None of this wonderful sixth region is nowhere within the body of that document we just looked at, or the site where it talked about the member states. The member states are already the established countries under the AU. So where are we at? And then all of a sudden, this wonderful sixth region, when you really look behind the veil of the sixth region, really it's just another region that they created, but ultimately we still won't have any power over our money. Our money will funnel over into all these different countries. And that's not fair. That's not fair. And it's not something that I would say we need to buy into. Hot sauce, I'm gonna let you speak, but we just got another person up here too as well, Robert Paul.
I'll be quick.
Hello.
I'll be quick.
Shalom, family.
So, shalom. I'll be extremely quick. So, first I want to say something. So, the Mama people in Kenya sued the British, and they won their reparations claim. So we absolutely can sue the AU. Obviously, you don't sue them and say, "Hey, we're suing you because you're trying to get reparations." No, you were making claims that they sold us into slavery, and they owe compensations for that because they snatched us from our land there, they snatched us from our families there, they snatched us from our possessions there. So, so the land and housing and remove and emotional damages from ripping you from your family, they owe you that. So obviously, you would sue on those bases. But the reason why you would do that is to let them know that, hey, keep your nose out of our business. That's the whole point. Because either one or two things going to happen. Either they're going to make a push for reparations, whether they get it or not is immaterial. They're making a push for it, and we're not making a bigger push as they are, because they're in the news, they're in the media, right? So, like, perception is reality. So if the world is seeing the AU pushing for reparations, and FBA is not getting the same media attention, whether they're doing it or not, doesn't make a difference. So the point is just that you have to protect what's yours. And right now, there are people that have no rights to this benefit making claims on your benefits. That is aggression, people. And I'll leave it there.
Um, can I chime
Um,
in,
All
Sister
right,
E?
one
can I
second.
say something
Let me
real quick?
let me let Robert Paul say something, and then Nefesh, you can say something, and then Hot Sauce, you can say something, and then I'm closing for the night. So
Uh,
Robert Paul,
yeah, shalom, family. How y'all doing?
I'm good.
Good, good. During this discussion, I'm hearing a lot of people, going back and forth about certain things about Africa. Now, I don't understand everything, y'all. I'm not no scholar on this or nothing like that. But I got a question I just want to ask, and maybe y'all can help me try to understand it. Maybe I'm far off. I don't know, but it's got to be somebody out there that can kind of help me with this understanding of it. Okay, so you got Africa that snuck in, right, and did something behind our backs. But I see everybody jumping and yelling and screaming, but there's not. I don't see a calm mind besides you, Sister E, coming out. You breaking it down for the people to understand what is going on. That's a calm mind to me. You coming in calm. We need somebody calm to take this thing and flip it. Okay, so I'm looking at like black folks then gave 10%, the African Union asking for 10%, right? I'm not trying to cause waves with Africa's group. We already know the scriptures say we going back home, right? So some things we already know in the scriptures that the Most High is going to do for us. Those of us that know that have to be of sound mind and come together and pray and understand and try and find out what the Most High wants us to do. With this, I'm trying to see if we could flip it. Could it be flipped where, okay, they want 10%? Okay, fine. You want to take 10%? What you want to do with that 10%? You say you want to do building projects. Okay, you can do those building projects for us. You can have that money set aside for when the Lord says it's time for us to come over there for us and get ahead of the thing. Be a part of it. Okay, you want to do it, but you're not going to do it without us. We see what you done did. You was dead wrong. You snuck in and you tried to do something, but we're going to take this thing and flip it. Would that be a possibility? That's what I'm asking. Could we have somebody? Because if black folks come together and say, well, they got this and they got that and they part of this. Well, we have the Black Caucus. So all we have to do, what I'm thinking is, all those wicked ones that we got in there, if we stand in unity, we can put the people that we need to be put in there. So this would be the time to come together and everybody get together and put their heads together and say, who do you want to be representative of the people, of black people, instead of just sitting and just going different directions and pulling this way and pulling that way. Just have a sound thing and come together with it. Does that make sense, or I'm far off from the mark with that?
I see what you're saying. And the
You
thing
see what
is,
I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but you got to have people that have um not only a sound calm, but you also got to have people that have good intentions and understand the wholeness of the effect of the decisions made on the entire community, and not have the mindset of I'm gonna give everything plus the kitchen sink so that I can just be a part of it, and then
What I
everybody
mean,
around them being impacted by the bad decisions being made. And
what?
uh-huh.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Okay, like well, we have one. I don't know all of them. Okay, I didn't do my research, and I'm sorry, y'all. But I know we have a man called Dr. Claude Anderson.
I love Dr. Claude Anderson. Oh my
Dr.
gosh, love
Dr.
him.
Claude, yeah, okay, so we got Dr. Claude Anderson. We can stand behind him, like-minded people like him that knows the economics, knows about black people, knows about our behavior. He like our little black Moses going around here.
Yep,
So I think like people of that mindset, we should put into office over this thing that's going on at this particular time, because this will be perfect for him. He's been digging and trying to get black people to understand, and this would be the perfect place for him to be in. But
understood. I understood it. I like
and I'm
that.
gonna go back quiet. That was
You
my
do.
little 2 cents.
You good.
I love
I
y'all. Thank you.
love you too. Thank you for coming up here. I try to stay calm. I lost my cool for about 5 minutes
That's
earlier, but
okay,
I'm back to
sis.
normal.
You love the people. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You love the people. And we got to have people like that, that love the people, because you said the most powerfulest thing of leading people astray. And I see all our brothers and sisters just growing like this way, that way. They don't know which way to go. They all
Yeah,
over the place.
they are. They are.
And they
And
don't want to hurt. Some don't want to hurt the other one, and then like you were saying, they compromise, but they compromise with a pain in their heart because they know it's not right, and it's just all over the place. It just
it
got to
is.
be one sound thing. What I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, we're here, and you're not just gonna walk over us, but we're not going to just walk away from you, because the Most High already say the two sticks are going to come together.
Oh, somebody said, "Am I gonna read the super chat?" There's a super chat. Hold on. Israelites are forgetting the same of these people are Hamitic. We have a fake doctor going around to refer all of us as African, and that's the only super chat that I have. Somebody asked me, "Am I reading?" Yeah, I read the super chats. I'm sorry, it's been so heated I didn't get a chance to read it. So, what are y'all thoughts on that? I see what he's saying. He says that, let me reread it so I can make sure and clearly read it. I don't want to miss that. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Chris. The Israelites are forgetting that some of these people are Hamites. Yeah, they are, and have a
Hmm.
fake doctrine going around to refer to all of us as African Israelites. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. There are. There are.
But they're still family, even though they're Hamites.
And I don't, and the thing is, I ain't even upset about them being Hamites. And the thing is, that's why I tell people my beef isn't the people itself in the land, it's the leadership
Right,
and what
right.
the leadership is doing, because the leadership is the same countries, these member states, and these leaders are corrupt, and they're even prostituting their own people.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
They're
That's
selling their
true.
own people out for a dollar. So that's why I said, if they sell their own people out, what they think? What you think they're gonna do to us?
Same thing. Even
Same.
worse.
And it ain't the people, because like I said, I got some good friends that I love with all my heart that are African, and they good with me, and I'm good with them. I don't have a beef with them, but they leaders though got a problem with that.
Yeah.
I got a
And that's
problem.
what, and I like that way you said that, sister. It shouldn't be about the people, it's the leadership.
It is.
Not the people so much as the leadership.
Yep. Yep. And then some of the people don't like us, but
Yeah. Well,
some of
some
it
do.
is
And the same goes for us on this side too. Some
yeah. Most of us don't
got the
even
same.
have a beef with them. We don't
Yeah.
even most of the time. Most Black Americans just won't be left alone. That's our thing. Just can you leave us alone? And the moment you pull our names up out of the head and say, "Oh, if y'all get reparations, we just gonna funnel that money over here." What? Excuse me? Hold on. This is the first time, I'm gonna be honest, I've ever seen us really push back on what in
Mhm.
with Africa in
And,
reference to the
yeah.
diaspora wars. We usually just be like, just leave us alone. This is the first time I've ever seen us say, "Oh no, that ain't the business right there," especially with what they did at the Essence Festival. So it's like now we're getting to a place like we're tired of this. So I better go to bed, y'all. I know a hit piece gonna be done about me tomorrow. Ask me if I care. Somebody's like, that they gonna do a hit piece on the age. Ask me, do I care? I'm gonna sleep just as good tomorrow morning while they doing hit pieces as I am any other day. I'm not gonna lose an ounce of sleep. What happened to him? I don't know what happened to you. I don't know. I didn't push you down to the bottom, but yeah, yeah, I'm unbothered by that. But I bet.
CT,
Uh-huh.
could I chime in right now?
Yep, we got. I'm closing up in 3 minutes. Let it be
Okay,
a minute.
so just real quick, like whatever happens in the future, I want everyone to understand. Don't worry terribly much about reparations, because we have to understand a few premises. One, we are children of the Most High, and if they steal from us, they're stealing from Him. And
Yep.
two, we understand that some people owe us so much that they will be utterly destroyed, and those nations that remain are going to have to pay gonna have to pay us reparations in what is called an annual tribute every year, or they aren't gonna
Or
have
they
any
ain't gonna
kind of.
get no rain. Amen.
So, so don't even worry about all that. We're gonna get ours because as long as we have faith in the Most High, we're gonna get ours. Now, on the matter of people going to Africa and getting messed up and stuff like that, and all that. That's why it's so important to, number one, read the Word, understand what's going on, being led of the Holy Spirit, and He's our Heavenly Father. We can ask Him questions. We can ask Him, is it okay? And if He says okay, He would give people green light. What we understand to be green light. Doors will be open to you. You will have the resources, you will have the money, the time, and you will be able to go out there and investigate and scout, and things will just work out well. The problem is a lot of people are operating in the spirit of fear. Oh, I'm afraid. They may not verbalize it that way, but they're afraid what's going to happen here. So I need to get my stuff and get out of here. And they're acting in that frantic state, and they do things in the wrong way or the wrong sequence, or they try to rush the process and they get messed up. That's what I think is happening with some of the people, you know. But if we all just like understand that the scripture says that the Most High, He's going to deliver us, right? Wherever He
Right.
scattered us. So I get that some people were given the green light, they got the resources, they got the wherewithal to go somewhere else, but many of us don't. There's some of us that are in jail. There's some of us that are ill and just scraping by, and there's just no way we can just take it upon ourselves to go anywhere else, Africa or Asia or otherwise. But for those brothers and sisters who are able to do that, may the Most High bless them in them doing that. But a lot of us, we don't have it like that. So we got to just, pray and be faithful to the Most High that He will deliver us. He said He will. We just
He's
gotta have that faith that He will deliver us from our captivity. So
Yep.
Amen.
Yep.
And just
that's
I,
and
okay.
just
hold
to
on.
and
I'm
just to key
laughing.
in.
Let me tell you, I'm laughing at Dave. He said he gonna put Sister E on a rotisserie. And guess what, Dave? I'm gonna sleep just as good in the morning. The problem with them and me is they know I don't care. The rest of my peers, they shaking in their boots. They be scared to fight against or push back or want to have. I don't care what they think about me. I publicly tell them they don't care. I've told them in their face I don't care. So go ahead and do that rotisserie. Guess what I'm finna do? Go to bed and sleep good tonight and going into in the morning and go get my little coffee in the morning and work and finish my day and study for my ITIL exam, which I've been putting on hold, and keep it going and keep it moving. I said what I want to say. It's off my chest. My hands are clear. I did exactly what I was supposed to do, and I'm done now.
Shalom,
Robert,
All
sister.
right.
Shalom, family.
Shalom. Shalom.
Robert, did you have to say something before you leave? I want you to
No,
get it.
I was just agreeing with the brother especially when he said about the Most High. He said He's going to do it. There's no one coming for us. There's no one that's got our back. There's there's no one. It's just Him. He says He going to do it. So we just have to buckle down and get ourselves in line
Yes.
with the laws, statutes, and commandments, and do the best we can, the very best we can, to love on one another and forgive one another. Because we haven't done that. We're still sitting here and we're going this way, that way. We're still going all kind of ways. People praying to trees. I'm like, come on, man, trees, really? But they praying to trees. They pray. Some people saying they're Indians. I'm not knocking that if you're Indian, but we still got to stick to the scripture, what the scripture says.
Yep. Yep. Well, y'all, other than that one instance where the dude made me mad, I should not use the nigga word, but I use that as a joke, just fun. I didn't mean, well, I meant I was going to kick him off though, because he was disrespectful. So, other than me slightly losing it almost, and Pastor Kelly saw it, and he ran up real quick. He's like, get you to calm down so you can get back on subject. It was overall good. I have to do these things because one, again, accountability. And I do love the people because I see um when you get in and actually meet the people face to face, it's a big difference. You meet the people face to face and interact with them, and you hear their testimonies, and they say things to you like how much your ministry has impacted their lives, and their children come up to you and they hug you and they say that my kids watch you on these lives, and it changes your whole mindset when you come to the realization that these are y'all are real people with real lives. And when you do this with no regard and you have no face to the community, you don't care. You say whatever and be reckless with it and don't care. I can't be reckless because the accountability is on my hand. One, two, I met these people. I met some of these people. I have this beautiful family that I met in Savannah. Friends with them now, and their two daughters came up and hugged me, and she said, "Sister, my daughter watched you on our TV," and I saw how much love they showed me, and I showed them. It gets real with you. It gets real that these people are actually watching you, and you're touching their lives, and they're touching your lives. They're touching your life.
Yeah.
So you're careful in what you say, but yet it's here you're gonna also stand up and say you're not gonna do people like that. Because these people got families, they got loved ones, they have savings accounts. My mother is dead and gone after the years that I had with her, but she had a savings. If you would have taken my mama's savings and made her go to Africa and she didn't spend her money on her savings trying to build something over there, and then y'all mistreat her, I'm coming over there and I'm coming with the smoke and I ain't gonna think nothing about it. So you see things like this and you got to take this stuff to heart. So a pack of individuals talking about me on a live, who cares at the end of the day? Because I'm not finna lose any sleep. I'm going to do what I was supposed to do, and the Most High got my back. Because I'm doing this in obedience to Him.
You've been doing this since 2017, since I came
Ooh,
on the scene. I've
crazy.
been listening to I've been listening to you that long.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm tired now.
Yeah.
This soul got weary. That's why I don't do it as much. But I mean, I love this. I don't do this just to be doing it. I love it. And when you love it, you take it to heart. You take it to heart. So a pack of hyenas talking about me, man, come with your best bit. I come from the hood of I come from Memphis. Your words ain't gonna hurt me. If anything, I'm gonna laugh in your face and keep it moving. What you gonna do? Nothing. So I ain't never been no follower of a crowd. My mom taught me that well. You lead the crowd. You don't let the crowd lead you. So I'm not a follower. I ain't got to be a part of a crowd. Sometimes your best friend is yourself sometimes, and that's a good thing. You
I've
know,
known that about you. You've been with a bunch of people and they start acting up when you dip out and leave them right there.
where they stand and be like, I'm out. You
I
don't hit
see
me in
you
the
dip
back.
out and leave them right. I say, oh, they done messed up because she done stepped off from
You know me well. I will step off so
them.
quick and be
Step
like,
off from them. I was like, I know some you done stepped off from. I ain't calling no names, and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, they ain't rocking like they usually rock, and I'm like, okay, something ain't right.
that's it. That's it. So you back at Berea Day. So yeah,
Yeah,
mm-mm.
yeah, I'm back in them days. I'm back in them days
Man, I'm not finna do all it. Mm-mm.
when I was getting from the voices, I was getting Karis and Dalton mixed up at one
Mhm.
time
Oh
because
wow.
they almost sounded similar, So
Yep. Yep. I
yeah,
even rock with Ron. I had him on my channel too as well.
yeah. Before the book even came out, he was on your show.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. I ain't in the people and names and stuff. They just like, oh
Yeah.
wow. Man, let me tell you something. When you come from the family I come from, you ain't too moved by people
Right.
and they books and they names and they notoriety. Ooh, I'm scared of them, or ooh, I want to stay a part of the clique. Man, look, walking alone is nothing new to me. I walked away from Berean with a smile on my face. I
Yeah.
walked away from many a groups with a
That
smile on
was
my face.
crazy. That was crazy, Sister E. Now
Crazy one.
that was a mess right there. That was crazy.
Yeah, so I'm not.
And then why is it that they tell you the truth and you listen and you hear it? Because they'll tell you. They'll
Yeah,
sit there and tell you, well, if I did this right here and this, that, and the other, you'd believe me. But I ain't gonna do that. Then they turn around and say, but I ain't gonna do that because Lord, blah, 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 this and that. And turn it back around and do the same thing they
yeah.
said they wasn't gonna do.
Yep.
And
So
I see you step away from them right there at that point because you done caught it. You're like, oh, Oh, you done switched up. Okay.
You switched up on me.
You done switched up on me. Yeah.
I was telling one of my really, really close friends today on the phone. I was talking to her on the phone, and I was talking about um how I have a tendency. I anybody I'm around, I love people and I love hard. That's a blessing and that's a curse. But once I'm done, I'm done.
Mm,
And I was telling my friend that I said I have the personality of when I have exhausted all that I have and I'm sick of it, and you're doing more harm to me than helping me. Once I make that decision to push you away, I'm done with you
wow.
because you've brought nothing but harm to me, and you're not helping me because I'm not gonna bring harm to you. And my friend and my really good friend, she's like that as well. She's like, I think that's why we so tight because both of us are the same. It's like, don't cross me, I'm not gonna cross you. Be real with me, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna, play like I'm saying one thing. And my daughter's the same way. Like, she the same way. I try my best. Whatever I am with a person, I'm gonna be with them until the end. But when
Yeah.
I notice that you're hurting me, I'm finna bounce on you. I got to go for my own peace. And that's what I've been doing in this community. Like, yeah, I love you, but I gotta love you from a distance because what you're doing is hurting me and people. And then too, now I gotta hold you accountable and tell the people because understand that what people don't realize all these things that I'm saying online are conversations I had over telephone conversations with these people. Some of these people, like,
Mm,
hey, what you doing ain't right.
right.
Hey, quit playing with these folk money. Hey, quit pushing these groups in Africa that's taking these folks' money. You need to stop this.
Right.
When I say having real conversations, screaming matches on the phone, are you still doing it? And I know
Still
you're
doing
doing
it.
it. I gotta tell
Oh,
people.
you can see I'm doing it. And I'm sitting there looking at the same, I ain't gonna say no name, but I'm sitting there looking at the same boxes, okay? They ain't went nowhere yet. I'm gonna
That's
leave
it.
that alone.
Thank you. Thank you. But what I'm gonna tell the people is stop giving them your money. Stop giving them your money. I'm gonna tell them real quick, stop giving them your money and save your
Stop.
money.
Yeah.
Stop, because it's not working for
Right.
you. So quit playing with these folk and their money. Because if you play with my money, we're gonna have problems. Real
Right.
problems. My and I'm not a greedy person, but my money is to take care of my family and myself and my friends and take care of things I need. And if you play like the elderly people, you play with my mama's money when she's alive. I'm coming. We ain't gonna have no conversation. It's
Mm.
gonna be ugly. Hey, Christopher Corner, 444. You called me right when I was getting ready to close up. What's up?
Hey y'all, shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom.
I just wanted to say to what my twin said earlier about Nefesh Kayah. He was talking about the divisions that's happening. I think that it's intentional, not on the part of the individuals per se, because I don't know what's in each individual's hearts. I'm saying from the from the dominions of the high places of the evil winds and stuff like that. I think they're deliberately causing division to break off communication from one side to another on certain issues because they saw how effective we were in that first okey doke back in 2020 when they tried to get everyone to cough, whatever. We weren't buying that, and at large, we were staying out of trouble, whatever. We weren't buying into it. They try to get us to vote this way or that way. They try to get us to protest this way or that way. And they noticed that at large, for most of us, was like, you know what, we ain't playing this game this time. So we staying out. So now I think something's finna happen again. That's going to be like a level 2 of what happened back in 2020. And they want us to have this communication and this camaraderie that we had. They wanted it broken down so that they can easily divide us and conquer us when we are siloed in our respective areas. That's what I believe. So they want you to have this animosity, whether it's warranted or not. They want the animosity to be upon the hearts of the people. So when that day comes, when we are siloed, we won't even try to look out and reach out to one another to ask this or that, or what this spirit is telling you about this particular issue. and what have you. That's what I believe from that standpoint. Now, having said that, um, like my brother was saying, we do have, every one of us have a piece of the puzzle. We don't have it all. I don't care how much education or background training or how many books you put out. No one has the exact answer. So let me say this. A lot of the divisions, in my opinion, and this is just my humble opinion, I ain't taking away from nobody else and what they went through or what their research shows. A lot of people are putting a lot of their stake on this African continent. Um, and but they're missing certain puzzles. Like when I read the scriptures, it talks about that our land is desolate. And when I brought that issue up, it was dismissed. Well, this desolation don't necessarily mean it's this or that or whatever the case may be. I believe that the promised land more than likely would have to be in the Sahara Desert region, because in the scriptures it talks about that it would blossom as a rose and that the waters would start springing forth. And we now know that the Sahara Desert is actually coming to life. So that's just my take on that. I can't prove it. I can't point to the scriptures and say Sahara Desert region or whatever the case may be. But you got so many people are invested on the idea of where true Jerusalem is, and they doubling down on these things. Not to say that they're wrong, but I'm just saying it's like whenever you have an alternative opinion about a matter, if it's not based upon what someone has already researched, it's automatically dismissed. So I can't speak to that. Like no one knows where it is. Like we're gonna be. The Bible said that we're gonna be questioning where is
Where
Zion.
is Zion?
I'm paraphrasing. So we don't know. I don't care how much effort and information or how many old maps you pull up. That don't mean you know the answer. Like God knows what the answer is. You might be right, but you can't put it on us. Like how you can't get offended when someone else don't see your viewpoint.
That's right.
Right. So stemming from that, and you fast forward to today, where now we're talking about foundational Black Americans, or AKA I'll just say American Negro. Right. There are some of us that actually believe that that's what we are, because without the struggles and the work and the slavery of our ancestors, this, I'm sorry to say, this country would be an asshole. You know, you got your boy Trump talking about he don't want people coming in here from asshole countries. This country would be an asshole country if it wasn't for our ancestors. So yes, from that respect, we are foundational Black Americans, but we're not a monolith. You can't put us all in the same group and say, hey, because Tariq Nasheed or whoever, you know, or like being aggressively adversarial to our brothers from the continent or from the islands or whatever, talking about we're gonna deport these people. Look, we don't all agree with that. The way I see it, the American system as it is, with those people in charge, have no right of claim than anyone else that immigrate over here. So why would I put myself in between it? I'm not going to be downing out my brother and sister simply because they happen to be born in a mother from another country, right? But so don't put us all in that same group. We are not all the same. When we speak about foundational Black Americans, we're talking about issues that we are trying to have addressed in our respective areas. And from our past experience with this quote unquote mystery Babylon, aka United Snakes of America, or now we can say divided states, right? So when we're using that delineation as like an identifier, not a separator, we're not doing that to exclude anyone. We're talking about issues that directly involve us. In like manner, we can't like just because we are the same color, the same hue, or from the same kingdom background from Southern Kingdom, we can't start going over there to United Kingdom today and start saying, "Hey, man, you know, get us involved in your issues," like, or let me speak on your behalf. Like, I had no business talking about what the struggles are of Black British people. I've never been to Britain, never been to UK. So why is it that when we try to make that assertion here, all of a sudden there's a problem? And that's another thing. When it comes to America, you got Black Americans or African Americans, and they but when it comes to Haitians, they don't say Haitian Africans. They don't say British Africans or Caribbean Africans. They just call them Caribbeans or Haitians or Jamaicans, or whatever. But when it comes to us, when we try to make that designation as a separator, I mean, speak out, not separator, as a delineator or as a identifier, not as an inclusion. We trying to say, hey, well, we don't identify with the name African American because that name was given to us by our oppressors because we didn't know. In ignorance, we accepted it because we didn't know who we were at the time. It wasn't time for us to wake up when we adopted that. Before that, it was Negroes or colors or niggers or whatever the case may be, right? But we can say that there was actually a place in Western Africa called Negro Land, so we could just say we're Negroes, right? So no matter what label you put on it, it's simply used as an identifier. So please don't, all those that are hearing my voice today, please do not sit there and say, well, because we want to identify ourselves with a specific subset category like FBA or ADOS or Negro, we're not saying screw the other people. We're not saying that. We're just saying that we have issues that pertains to us here. No different if a New Yorker has an issue and I'm in Georgia, I have issues to deal with in Georgia that don't necessarily have to deal with or has any matters or concerns to a New Yorker that's living in New York City and vice versa. I don't have to worry about New York sewer rats because I'm not in New York, so I'm not going to be talking about issues relating to New York sewer problem,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's the same thing for what we're doing. I don't understand why it seems like some kind of adversarial spirit is moving amongst our ranks, deliberately picking and choosing issues that should not be a contentious issue and making it that. And I'm getting upset, not from a standpoint of anger or animosity, just upset because I see the game that's being played on our people. It's going to
Yep.
cause us more harm than good
Good.
if we keep allowing things that should not be a non-issue be an issue. If Sister E, if you I know you work in IT, so I don't know what your historical past is and your work history, but let's say for example that you worked at IBM in the '60s, right? Just for example, IBM had a certain culture. There was a dress code. There was certain mantras that they declared as company men at IBM, right? But if I work for the city of Fairfax or city of
You can
Detroit,
keep
Michigan, or
talking.
whatever,
I don't
those
want to
rules.
cut Chris. I don't want to cut you off. I'm gonna walk my dog. I was trying to get him out. He's screaming and whining right now.
Okay. So that's the point I'm making. Don't look at it like we're trying to exclude anyone from some promised, covenant. It's just we just trying to identify the issues that's concerning people here and to deal with the people who are actually done these evils to us. And that's all I'm saying like that. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
All right, I'll reconvene this at another time, y'all. My dog is screaming at the top of his lungs because I need to take him outside. So, y'all, this was great. It's a great conversation. Don't allow yourselves to be played by these individuals. And the ones that are back watching, stop playing with these folk money because I know you watching me. Leave these folks' livelihood and their money and their peace of mind alone. If you want to go to Africa, you go to Africa. Quit trying to fearmonger people to go to Africa. Stop mistreating them, making them feel like if they stay here, they're going to die. Well, you know what? If that means I got to be with the Lord, I'm good with it as well. But I'm
Amen.
not going to sit here and do this to these folks. Y'all quit playing games with these folk money. You know who you are because you watching. Quit putting fear in these people. Let these people know who the Most High is. They don't need you to teach them who the Most High is. They have a relationship with Him. You're not a God, and I'm talking to you because I know you're watching. You're not a God. You don't make a decision on who goes and who stays. If people decide to stay, praise the Most High. So with that being said, y'all, I'm out. Robert, thank you, and I'm glad to know you've been following me. Next time you in the chat, let me know so I can go ahead and give you a wrench. I always give people a wrench that's been with me for a long time. So just say Robert Paul in the chat in the next live, and I'll make sure and give you a wrench. All right, y'all.
Thank you, sister. Love you.
Much love. Peace. Y'all, I see y'all on another day. Thank y'all so much for supporting me and joining me. I see y'all sometime this week. And thank you for
All
your
right.
prayers too, as well as I kind of get through the process of healing with my mom's passing and my father's passing. So y'all just keep me and my family lifted. Thank you and much love.
All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk, Sister E. God's work, Sister